everybody. UnHappy Wednesday, coming to you live from the Midwest Eagles Nest at the Back Porch Saloon. This is the UnHappy Gilmore Show, powered by Green Legion Radio and part of the Green Legion Radio family. Thank you, as always, for joining us from wherever you may be and whatever device you're using to stream us on YouTube. So please do us a favor, pull up a chair, turn up the volume if I'm not loud enough for you, crack open a cold one if that's your thing on a Wednesday night. Use the company dime if, God forbid, you're still stuck at work. And let's try to have some fun as we put an end to day 3 of Super Bowl week's hostage situation and look forward to tomorrow being Friday Eve. Teased it earlier. We have a guest tonight. His name is Scott Calcaterra. Scott, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Don't be nervous. It's a podcast. Be loose. The room is going to crack you up when you read some of that stuff. We got Roger sitting across from us here. He was on with us last week. And the general manager of the Back Porch, Mike Solon, sitting right across from me, staying off the camera so the lens won't break this week. We're gonna get right to the business end of things quick here so that I can start getting Scott involved here. So everyone, this is my wife's favorite part of the show. We are proudly sponsored by Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club, located at 2740 South Front Street in Philadelphia. Cheerleaders, bringing you the area's most beautiful women on 5 different stages. Open 7 days a week from noon until 2 a.m. and until 4 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. For group information, call 215-467-1980 and reserve a private booth and party package. Also offering free parking, a full menu, daily drink and food specials, and a premium selection of cigars and a cigar lounge. If you can't get out to the link or can't get out to the bank, if you're looking for a place to watch your favorite sporting event, head on over to Cheerleaders and enjoy the 75-foot HD TV wall, as well as HD TV screens throughout the entire club. Once again, folks, that's Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club, 2740 South Front Street in Philadelphia. Information. Again, my wife's favorite part of the show, and I don't know if she's watching or not, but usually I'll be able to look through that little window. And say, it's my wife's favorite part, and she just does one of these. He knows the look. She worked for him for years.
The mystery person.
Who do we got in the room here? So Fanny's in the room. Good evening, all you cool kids. Scott's excited to meet you on Sunday.
Absolutely.
We told him just listen. Lou Mancini in the room. Go Birds. Keenan is hyped up. Fanny ditto. Lou Dominguez joining us from Miami. Is it Sunday yet? Not close enough, brother. I cannot. I mean, it can't get here quick enough. Man to man. Go Birds from Dave L. No, David Lowe. How you doing, brother? Threw me for a loop there. This is Josh. Hey, guys, I would be at the bar if I wasn't fighting this sickness. Josh, you better get the hell on over it. Yeah. You are not allowed to miss. There are no excuses for game day. Of course, Fanny's being nice to tell him to feel better.
It's going around now, man.
It is. A lot of shit's going around. Fanny says, welcome, Mr. Calcaterra.
Hi, Fanny. I look forward to meeting you. I really do. That's the first thing I said when I got here. I want to meet all these people I see posting. So,
are all of you sick? Oh, there's my wife. My favorite.
Hi, Michelle.
So, Scott, we usually do a thing called Boner of the Week. And I skipped it this week just because I wanted it to be a little bit unstructured so that you had as much time to discuss your story, Grant's story, everything, right?
Yeah.
But just to give you the rundown, usually I will find some idiot in the world of sports, whether it's a commentator, a reporter, an athlete, a coach, whatever.
Skip Bayless?
Nick Wright,
exactly.
Jerry Jones, who we hope lives forever.
Uh-huh.
And we'll make him the boner of the week, right? And they just you win the prize. You know what I mean? I guess if we wanted to pick one this week, Luka Doncic is going to miss out on about $116 million for that trade. That's rough. I don't know if that's boner of the week material, but that's pretty rough. His max deal with the Lakers now is $116 less than it would have been with Dallas for the Supermax. But that's kind of, and then from there we get into previous game, upcoming game, any kind of upcoming topics. When Mike sits with me, he'll kind of talk about some things here at the Back Porch. I try to include some Midwest Eagles and that stuff. For all of you in Philly who follow us, guys, just so you know, if you haven't seen it, because I don't usually post on my normal page anymore. I keep it mostly just to the group stuff. We closed the back porch for Super Bowl Sunday. And when you consider the fact that we really didn't start pushing this until about halfway through the 2022 season, when I came back from the Arizona trip, that's 2.5 short years. And Mike and I have always talked about the amount of green that we know is here, because we've been to a couple of the games where the birds had come to town. You can see it. You just needed something to bring it all together. And brother, did it. Right? Like there's no other place in the tri-state area that offers. The only thing we need now is Jimmy needs to put an addition on it. Right. 300. I know. Go ahead. What do you got?
It's more.
Yeah, I know. It's north. So no standing room. Every seat in the place is full. And I get emotional about it, dude. Like, it's what were you trying to tell me?
Well, I mean, like it's as much as I can do. I mean, there is a couple open seats kind of over here.
So,
but I was forced to just leave them open.
Yeah. So directly out the window that I'm looking out here is a section that the porch and the employees call the 80s, not because of the decade. That's just what they call it. So every table number, for those of you that have worked in a restaurant, 81, 82, 83, 84, yada yada. That section on Sundays is normally not open. There's no server. Now you can sit out there, but you're bar service. You have to walk up and get your own shit. We packed this place so much that they're actually going to put a server out there. That's now all full.
We're adding 2 TVs.
And there's 2 TVs being wheeled in to accommodate those folks. So to say we've succeeded might be an understatement, brother, of the day, of the year. It's just been absolutely Josh says, Mike, just get on screen. Get on the screen. There's fairly proud dad moment. But yeah, no, it's been an experience, and people are getting turned away because there's just no more room, and it came on us pretty quick, so there wasn't a whole lot of time to plan it. I think when we saw that game where we clinched the division and saw 75, we're looking at each other like playoffs are going to be 100 and something, and then all of a sudden it was 200, so it jumped on everybody very fast, which was awesome. Didn't leave a whole lot of time for planning shit, though. So Mike and his staff here have been incredible in pulling off everything. You should see the front of this building. He's got from his vendors, he got EAGLES across all the windows, and underneath the letters, it's spelled out home of the Midwest Eagles Nest. I mean, this is just unbelievable, dude. And we're in Cincinnati, Ohio. We're not even in a city. We're in a suburb of Cincinnati. Right? Like, this isn't like we're in downtown here, right? Where it's like, the hot spot. This is Butler County, Ohio. And we found a way to pull it all together.
This building got uprooted from Philly.
And dropped in the middle of Westchester, Ohio. So Roger says the building got uprooted from Philly and dropped in the middle of Westchester, Ohio, which is kind of what we wanted.
Well, that's what happened to us. We get uprooted and dropped.
Yeah, and it's true. Whether it be family circumstances or job relocations, this is how it went. And so I guess that's a pretty good analogy, dude. It's not just the building; it's all about it. Yeah, it's been a really cool experience.
Imagine how emotional you guys are, but I'm emotional about it. When I came, it was like 50, 60
56. Yeah, I know.
And like
we get to where
we
it's
all handed out all our cards at the Bengals game. And I'm
so that was the big thing, right?
We get to people that are one person in a group of Bengals fans.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey man.
So Scott, when we were downtown, we did the Green Legion tailgate at the Filson downtown at the Banks, and Back Porch bought us 500 business cards, right? So we designed them, put the QR code on the back. Yeah, you see it, right?
Yeah, I saw it. It's excellent.
We handed out groups of them to everybody that was at the tailgate.
Yeah, I heard you talk about it.
Pass these out to Birds fans that are saying that they're from the area. So everybody was doing it. There were 2 guys in particular that were basically turned themselves into prostitutes with it. It was hysterical. So Lee over in Northern Kentucky, he owns a restaurant down there. He was doing his thing. But above all else, Kevin, who you'll meet Sunday, he's awesome. He was leaning over railings, throwing cards at people. Hey, you live around here? And throwing cards at, all weekend long. And that was the big recruiting moment.
Is that guerrilla marketing?
It was definitely aggressive. I can tell you that.
So we call that guerrilla.
Boots on the ground, no
Yeah,
doubt.
Absolutely.
This is a grassroots campaign, no question about it. But then the biggest part of it, like you and I talk about all the time, the biggest reason the Birds keep winning football games. I mean, how much we've done a lot of cooking over these last few years. Even last year with the supernatural funk in the second half of the season, but it still has been a ton of winning. And it's specifically on the road. Like I've been to 6 or 7 Green Legion trips just in the last 3 years. We haven't lost any of them. Like we win everywhere. It's insane. And with more of that comes more takeover, like we were talking about with LA.
Well, like Quimby said, when we were in New Orleans, that was the first game that he'd actually ever seen a win in New Orleans.
Yes. Great point. So we exercised some demons this year too, in case you guys weren't aware. The New Orleans one is one of them. We had lost our previous 4 there. We had never won here in Cincinnati. Never won here. Right? And exercised all of those demons.
We talked about it.
Stupid McNabb tie. I didn't know we could tie. How many more cans of junkie soup do you need to realize? Yeah.
I showed him the picture.
Yeah. Dude, freezing cold that day. You remember how cold it was that much? So we're out doing beer bongs with his dad at like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. It's like 10 degrees out. The guy Dave that was with us at the time, he crashed at my place that night before. And I get up in the morning and he's got like just his Reggie White jersey. I'm like, bro, where's your undershirt? I don't have it. Where's your coat? I don't have it. I ended up giving him that thing he's got underneath of it.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was like, I'm like, dude, it's 10 degrees out. And Dave weighed about 47 pounds soaking wet. Rocks in his socks, this kid. What do you got, Roger?
So was it the game? It was like 13-13. Right?
I forget the final. It was an ugly football game.
That was the best seats I've ever had.
Best seats you've ever had?
We were right in the end zone.
Can I curse?
We were scattered all over the place.
The best seats. I was the third row from the end zone on like the side. So any touchdown
was right in your face.
Right in front of you.
So this guy, so he brings a flask into the stadium.
The good old days.
Filled with Crown
level bar.
Filled with Crown Royal. Halftime, we're trying to go meet each other to have a cigarette. I can't get over there. It's a zoo. Apparently, he gets busted taking a sip out of it. So the guy tells him, you got to pour the rest of it out. He turns it like this was already empty.
No, I got busted my second time for smoking a cigarette.
Well, they had the areas you go
They
smoke.
were searching me. He's like, is that a flask in your pocket? I was like, yeah. He's like, let me see that. And I was just like,
it was empty already. Fucking halftime. You got a whole fucking. This is after the beer bongs with Dad in the park. Yeah. So we've definitely seen our fair share of crap out here in Cincinnati. It's but yeah, exercising those demons this year on the march to a Super Bowl run, and now here we are. So I know we've got a lot of things to talk about. Let's start with the game. All right, let's get that out of the way. It should be pretty simple. Talent-wise, the Eagles are the more talented team. I saw one graphic where they gave the check mark to the Chiefs' offensive line over the Birds. I'm like, are you insane? Like, who did Nick Wright make this list? What is this? I've said it all year long. If everyone's healthy offensively, if everyone's healthy and doing their job, I don't really know how you devise a defense to keep the Eagles out of the end zone, off the scoreboard, right? Because if you play up to bottle up Saquon, which is the way I would probably go about it,
sure.
Jalen has proven he can pick you apart, and those two on the outside are animals. Devontae Smith is the most technically talented receiver on the team between his hands, his route running, his body control, all of that stuff, the way he contorts himself. And A.J. Brown is the biggest 50-50 ball nightmare in the league. He's too strong for any corner. He's faster than half of them, and he'll blow by any safety. So if he's out there one-on-one, I'm going to haul that thing out there every single time. Then you have Goddard.
Exactly.
And you have Grant. And I just don't know where, like, pick your poison. So if Spags, and I'm sure Spags will have something dialed up. But in my mind, I would make Jalen beat me, is the way I would go about it.
I really think, I think the whole key is the mindset. as far as if you're going to come out, you got to know you can do it. And I think they have the mindset. I think they're so jacked up right
They're
now.
pissed.
Yeah, they're pissed. I just think they have revenge on their mind. I think they know that they're better. I think Kansas City knows that they're better. And I'm so excited about this game because if they're clicking on all cylinders, they can't be stopped.
I agree. When that team is clicking, there's not a defense to dial up. You're screwed. I mean, Jalen proved it against Pittsburgh. Going into that game, Pittsburgh was one of the better defenses in the league, specifically against the pass. And he threw for 290 yards and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Picked them apart. Just took what was there and picked them apart all game long. They bottled up Saquon.
Yeah.
And Jalen took advantage.
I think if you look at Kansas City and the teams that they've played, and they've barely gotten by on last possessions, they've really not blown anybody out. I just think we match up so much better. It's going to be so hard for them to match up against us.
Yeah.
I don't think they have the answers.
I don't think they do either. I think the one thing, and Roger, you and I talked about this last week a little bit, the one thing that does concern me is in our playoff run, we've forced 10 turnovers. And what does that mean? That means extra possessions. I don't think we're going to have that luxury against the Chiefs. They're very well coached. They're very disciplined. And that's the reason why they're able to win those games in the final moments is because they're just better disciplined than everyone else. They don't make the mistake, right? They don't get the holding call. And I don't want to hear about refs. Please just spare me.
Turnovers like this.
Look, don't turn it over. And we've been feasting on the fact that we've gotten the ball from the other team a few extra times, turn that into points. Don't think we're going to have that luxury, which means now you have to maximize your possessions.
Yes.
Perfectly capable, don't get me wrong, but it's going to be ultra important because we're not going to win the game 3-0. Kansas City is going to score points. They're going to. I don't expect them to score a lot of them, but they're going to score.
Well, if you look at the last game, no turnovers.
Yeah.
I mean,
We don't turn.
Those are what kill you. Those are controllables, and you have to manage your controllables.
I agree. And that's part of what love that line right there.
That's the coach in me.
Yeah, man, I love that. So I looked at this as a somewhat low scoring game. And the last time we locked up was 38-35, right? It was a track beat. I don't think that's going to happen this time around. Chiefs defense is really good, so is ours.
And the coordinator,
Both coordinators, right? Spags and Fangio. Yeah. I mean, they're going to have it dialed up. I think the Chiefs' offense is easier to stop than ours. They don't have the complement of weapons.
Right.
But Spags will have something to at least try to keep us in check.
I agree.
Low scoring. We talked about this last week, 24-17, 27-21, something like that. I don't think you're going to see that slugfest from 2 years ago.
I think you got to it's going to come down to Kelsey. You have to contain him. You can't let him float in the middle as he has done in the past. He's a seasoned veteran with battle experience.
Yeah.
And if we can minimize that, I think we shut them down pretty easy because I don't think they're other go-to guys. I think we can handle them.
I do too.
Yeah.
I know Xavier Worthy presents he's the one, we talked about this too. He's a one-trick pony, but that one trick is blazing speed.
Right.
He will be the fastest guy in the field when everybody gets out there. But if you bracket, I don't know, and he can get knocked off his route. He's not a big guy, right? He's that one trick pony guy. He's got the gimmick plays, your end arounds, your bubble screen sort of thing, And I think the Birds defend that very well, especially with a guy like Cooper out there, just ready, willing, and able to run up and smash someone on a bubble screen.
Sean needs to follow him around.
Well, so who's going to follow around Kelsey? I guess is it Oren Burks? Because I don't want to take Vaughn away from what he does well, which is just being able to read the field. Right. I also don't want to have Vaughn be the spy on Mahomes. So what's the middle of the field? I think you're going to see some Blankenship. I think you're going to see Gardner Johnson. Don't be surprised if DeJohn draws a little bit of Kelsey.
Sure. I
know he's given up a lot of height, but let's be honest, everyone's going to give up a lot of height. Kelsey's a big guy, 6'5", I'm pretty sure. I think they mix it up and try to maybe mess with them a little bit.
Well, I was just going to say there's got to be some trickery.
Yeah.
They've studied film. They're going to be prepared. They're going to look for the norm. but you have to throw them something different to throw them off. And then while they're trying to figure that out, you come back with some other trickery that even throws them off more.
Yeah.
And I think if they do that, Kansas City's going to be in for a little surprise.
I agree. And, when you look at the pass rush, Fangio doesn't blitz a whole hell of a lot. It's usually only sending 4. Sometimes it appears like a blitz because he's still sending 4, but the end will drop. The edge rusher will drop, and then Bond rushes, right? Or Burks comes in, or DeJohn comes in, right? It's still just 4 guys, but it makes that quarterback unaware of where exactly it's going to come from. It fucks up the offensive line, too.
I like that.
What do you got here?
They got to get Mahomes uncomfortable.
Got to get him uncomfortable early. And
totally
the best way to get a quarterback uncomfortable is straight into his face. So
pressure.
that's Carter, Davis, Milton Williams, Moro Ojimo. That's where that pressure needs to come from.
I mean, how about Carter this year? I mean, he's just a freak animal.
That guy is. It's probably going to be my next jersey.
I mean,
He's 98.
he's
And he's a
fun to watch.
spaz, dude.
Yeah.
You got him already. Rogers already got it.
They got Carter.
So Rogers' jersey on Sundays. I'm not going to split. He's got a number 53 jersey, but he doctored it.
Okay. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, I'm so. I really am. I mean, as I told you, I went to college outside of Kansas City, and I have to listen to these guys, and they want to make excuses. And I don't want to talk about officiating as part of the game, but I know it angers a lot of people.
It does.
But some ways wasn't that the way it was for Tom Brady too?
Exactly. And I think it's the way it is for any superstar in any sport.
Right.
Right? Like Derek Jeter got calls at the plate. Tom Brady got calls in the pocket.
Right.
Michael Jordan got away with murder. Let's be honest.
LeBron.
LeBron gets away with more than anybody I've ever seen.
It's a joke.
Okay.
It's ridiculous.
But
I
I
have
also think
another.
they're starstruck. Like sometimes officials are starstruck with glamour. And I think that Mahomes might have played in pro soccer because he flops with the best of them. I mean, I
who the
feel like,
funniest-
dude, did you play in the MLS or how did you learn that flop so well?
You know who the funniest flop in football is, though?
No.
It's Jalen Carter.
Oh,
He's 340 pounds, and he'll just throw himself on the ground. I'm like, dude, come on. Like, seriously. Like, you just manhandled 2 offensive linemen. This dude went like this to you, and he fell over. And he'll get up laughing about it, but, like, that shit cracks me up every time he does it. You just hope they don't start throwing flags on it. That's
Well, exactly. But
Unless
you
it's
got to give the Chiefs their props. I mean,
They're a
they're a
good team,
very
man.
good team.
They're
They
well
have
coached.
sustained for a very long time, which is hard to do. I think how many people are in the Eagles that played in the last Super Bowl?
There's been turnover.
Yeah, a little bit of turnover, but I also feel like our senior leadership, as far as the guys that have been around, know how to get them together. They feed off of each other, and then you put in the Saquon factor. And I mean, my goodness.
Perfect segue to a guy who has a chance to be an X factor once again, and possibly on his way out. Brandon Graham is back.
Yeah.
And, just his leadership on the sideline. If God forbid that man comes up with another big moment like he did to Brady in that Super Bowl. And he called it last week. They're going to have to put a statue outside the link for him if he does that shit. They may do it anyways,
I'm
but
sure our 27-21.
Yeah.
We're up by that. There's only a few seconds left. Graham sacks Mahomes to end the game.
Right.
right. Or there's like a minute and a half to go and we're up 6 and they're on the move and he strip sacks and we just take it if he has another moment like that,
And
you
it
can
has
forget
to be that one.
But the fact that he's even there, so you have, I know Kelsey's gone, but you got him and obviously Fletch is gone too.
Right.
BG, Lane Johnson, right?
A lot of.
Coming back?
Johnson says he's coming back.
He says he's coming back.
We'll
BG's
see.
done.
We'll see when we win this thing. If Johnson's tune
Johnson already
changes
said
at all.
he's coming back.
I saw that.
I saw that. By the way, I don't know if you saw the post I put on the group.
Yeah.
But my sister-in-law sent it to me, and it's all this stuff that's mic'd up. And I guess BG is the biggest trash talker
In the league.
And it's hilarious
In the
if you
NFL.
watch it. Like it was very funny.
He is
And Dallas as well.
Yeah.
He's
Goddard.
Yeah. So if you get a chance, watch it. It's pretty funny.
Did you see the clip of Mailata against Washington? Where he does the quote from Bane from the Dark Knight movies? I was wondering what would break first. Your mind or your spirit or your body?
Yeah, he did it like that. too.
Oh, perfect.
That guy is, like you say,
He's a unicorn.
Yeah.
He's 6'8", 366 pounds, and long run from Barkley. Mailata was the second guy in the end zone.
Yeah.
And then he has the voice of an angel. Like, I don't know how
Well, this highlight reel from rugby is just sick.
stupid.
It's
Yeah.
just sick.
That guy that big should.
How he just popped over.
What? Shoot.
was a 7th round pick, and when we
He was
got
a
him,
7th
I
round
watched that
pick.
Rugby film, and
Yep.
I was like, our O-line coach is going to
Yeah.
have a ball with this.
I was in.
I
The
was
University of Justice.
Stout, man.
offensive
Look at Frank
linemen-
Johnson.
I know.
Look at Mekhi Becton.
If you look at offensive linemen that do good in the NFL,
Yeah.
normally they have another skill that they were doing before they got to the NFL.
Very
If
true.
they don't, they're average.
That's true.
Lane Johnson was a quarterback. And
Yeah.
then he was a tight end. And then he was very good at all those.
What do we
Then
got?
he was like so big, he's a tackle.
Elliott. So here's one. Elliott needs to bring his A game.
We know that.
Jakey.
You and
I don't want to worry. I don't want to.
We
You
do
know
it
what,
all the time. Come on, Jakey. Give
I
me
don't
3.
care. I think he's going to step up. I feel it. You know what I mean? Like this is his.
So
last
do-
hurrah.
And I think this might be it.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to think he's going to don't. He doesn't have to think.
At all. Just kick it.
It's just like golf.
Just kick the
And
ball.
I know you're a golfer, and you know sometimes you get the yips, but yeah, and then you get out of it, and you're good to go.
But let's be a little fair to Jakey. Look around the league. What kicker hasn't had some yips? this year?
Exactly.
Everyone's had problems.
Best one.
Of course, then there's Justin Tucker, who's yipping a little too much at massage parlors.
But hang out.
He's been hanging out with Deshaun
I
Watson.
wants it, exactly.
Oh, we had a ball with that. So that
Don't get me
broke
started.
the first. So I started doing this show in it was like April of 22. April of 2022 was when we launched this podcast, and that was when the Deshaun shit was going on. So every week I had what I call the Deshaun Watson douche meter, because at that point the number of ladies that were coming in making the complaints was still growing. And it's just And I had some choice words for him yelling at the screen when we played the Browns earlier this year. He yelled at me.
I
He's like,
got
"You
you.
preach family establishment." Yeah, well,
Try to-
sometimes. And then Mike had to tell me I'm not allowed to cuss into the megaphone.
Yeah, I saw you.
Well, so funny story. So halfway through the year, we're growing, especially once we got past the game here. He went out and he bought me a small megaphone because my voice was starting to get strained,
Right.
and it was great.
Was the
Like, this is
cowbell
awesome.
involved?
Cowbell I've had
Oh,
out here for a
okay.
couple of years.
Because I know
Yeah.
you talk about
My
the cowbell.
wife is to thank for that. She bought it for me for Christmas a couple of years ago. I took that thing out of the box, looked at her, and she's like, "Oh shit!" So I made
See
it.
you Sunday.
All right, brother.
Thank you.
Be
Appreciate
good, man.
it very much, Mike.
So so he gets me the small megaphone. I put a bunch of Eagle stickers on it. Really, I use it to holler out when we're in big moments. Jalen Hurts pass complete to Devontae Smith for a Philadelphia Eagles, and I go like this in the whole crowd. First down. We get to the playoffs, and I'm using that thing, and it's not loud enough.
That's what I heard.
So I had to go buy another one. Now I have this gigantic black, and I
Wow.
bought. The work had one, same size, same model. I opened the box, it's blue and white. I said, "There's no way I'm using the fucking Dallas Cowboys colors." So I bought the black one, and that thing is obnoxious. Like I go out here in the parking lot, turn the siren on, it echoes off all the way down the street and everything. Crazy. What do you got, Josh? Yeah, I mean, you can't tell rapists when the kids are around. So that's what I was yelling at Deshaun Watson. I was like, he'd come off the bench, and I'm like, "Come out here, you rapist!" Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a bad look. Clean up, aisle 5. All right. So I think it's 27-21, 24-17, somewhere in that area. Birds.
I agree. I think it's
You think
gonna
it's
be,
in that range?
I think it's not going to be higher than 30.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I don't
somewhere in the 20s. I think it's going to be close. And let's hope there's not this mysterious flag that came out like the last Super Bowl, but I'll leave that alone. So,
I'll get into the 30s. I think we'll.
Yeah, I agree. I think unlike a few years ago, if this game gets into a shootout,
They're not.
I think Kansas City's dead.
I agree.
I don't think they can hang. You got
Yeah,
Fanny
they're
here
not
says
the
30-21.
They're not the team they were.
See Keenan's prediction in there.
So, Chrissy and I would say your voice was louder than the first megaphone. I am a loud guy.
It's all right. You're in time.
Yeah. Keenan, I didn't see. Do you have it? Do you have the chat room? What it's Keenan got?
Harmon said 35-24 Birds.
35-24. Yeah, if we hang 30, I think we win going away. I just
I
do.
think that's likely. That score's likely. If we're putting up points like that.
The Chiefs' high water mark was the game against the Bills. They scored 32. That's the most points they scored all year. 2 other times they scored 31. Outside of that, I don't think they broke 30. So that was The 32 was their high water mark, and they just don't.
13.
Lou Mancini says 31-13. Bet the house.
Love it.
Brother,
Love it.
Lucho's violence. I love it.
You know how rocking this place will be.
Dave, oh my God. Dave Conner, what's the over-under 3-1 penalties in favoring the Thieves? We're not talking about that.
Yeah. He says the Thieves. Instead of
Dave's a good dude, also up in Dayton.
Yeah.
I've known him for 14 years, 15 years.
We'll let the flags go.
Yeah. But so we're pretty much in agreement. I think you were on the same page last week, Roger. We were kind of mid to upper 20s versus high teens to low 20s in favor of Philadelphia. Some of these guys are calling 31-13, 35-24.
Both defenses.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
I agree. I think
And
both
well coached.
and well coached.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all in agreement there. All right, Scott, we've babbled along long enough about Midwest Eagles Nest and the Super Bowl. I think we're all in agreement on the bowl. I don't think there's much to do about it. I don't even think the Eagles have to change what they do.
Go Birds!
Go Birds! I don't even think the Eagles have to change much of what we're doing. I think it's Kansas City that has to react to us.
Right.
But all that being said, wasn't the number one reason why we got you here today.
Yeah.
So, you know, obviously being your nephew. But with you,
Sure.
so played basketball, coached basketball.
Yeah. Played a little college basketball.
So give us your story.
Played out in Missouri at a school called Northwest Missouri State University, D2 program, strong in football. Won about 5 national championships
Oh, wow.
in Division II, and then along came their basketball program, well after me, by the way. But they three-peated, I want to say 19, 20, then COVID. That got put on hold, and then I take it back, it was 18, 19, 21.
Yeah.
They three-peated. Incredible record, incredible program. Ironically, one of the guys that's my teammates is an NFL official who did one of Grant's games. There's a full circle moment as well.
So, you got any poll?
No, he's new, but he won't. So, I come back and graduate after graduation, and I come back. We're translating here as well. We moved to Cincinnati from 74, and a lot of people like, well, what's your favorite team? And growing up, we were in St. Louis, so we liked the Cardinals, and we moved out to the West Coast, and we liked the Rams, and then the Rams traded Roman Gabriel, so I kind of started following the Eagles, and knowing a little bit about them, and then, of course, we moved here.
Yeah.
In 76, my dad got season tickets for the Bengals, so that became our team of choice because we were here.
Sure.
And then we held on to those tickets. They were my dad's, and then my older brother, Chris, Grant's dad, he got the tickets. So they were in our family for 42 years.
That's a long time,
A
brother.
lot of great
Especially that
history.
fan base.
Let me tell you, we were
Not
good.
the most loyal folks.
No. That's why I got the tickets a lot, because nobody wanted to go in my family. So they gave me the tickets, and I took all my buddies. And if my buddies are out there rolling right now, we're going around and down there, rain or shine. I mean, I can remember going to Flanagan's, and if you're from here, all the times that we had, and boy, what a great time in your high school years, and after you've graduated and you're home and you're in your 20s and you're with all your boys. So, and then we'll get into the story about when Grant played here and what that meant to our family. So, lo and behold, I'm in sales, and I mentioned this to Mike, but I used to call on Back Porch back in the day, trying to get their business.
And you would have dealt with Jimmy back then.
I dealt with Jimmy, and Jimmy was very loyal. I was a new kid on the block. Why would I trade away? And I'm like, well, just give me a shot on like 10 items. And I told Mike, I think he used to take my quote and hand it over to Cisco and go, hey man, can you beat these prices? And I get it, and it was
a businessman, and he's damn good at it.
So I stayed in sales. I was in food service, moved to manufacturing, moved to Florida.
Yeah.
Started out in South Florida. So we'll talk about Craig and where he's at. But, I watched the Dolphins, of course, with one of the greatest quarterbacks in Dan Marino. My job took me through merger acquisition. I'm now up in Jacksonville. Jacksonville's new. I'm like, hey, man.
93?
95.
95.
Yeah. And I got my tickets.
After the salary cap given? Yeah, I guess it would have been.
Which the Panthers came in at the same time.
Yeah.
And that used to be a really good rivalry.
Yep.
So I got my ticket, on the same day that Tiger Woods broke the record at the Masters.
Oh, wow.
And the way they did the seating was really cool. There wasn't a seat license like here. And you just paid face value and you had to pay your first year and third year. So it became Jaguar ticket holders and fans. And of course, they were new. And in reality, it's like going to a college game. I'm not kidding you. I mean, you could walk straight to the gate with a case of beer and nobody said anything. You know, and then once you got to the gate, you had to put it down. You were parking in people's yards, like going to a Gators game.
I hear Buffalo's like that.
I mean, it was crazy.
Like people rent out their driveways. It's kind of like Wrigley Field.
Yeah. What the problem was is these Jaguar fans didn't understand your quick success isn't going to last.
No.
So, you know, you got Mark Brunell, Tony Baselli, you got Fred Taylor, you got Thunder and Lightning and Keenan McHale and Jimmy Smith. So, you know,
they were a good team.
They were a good team. So, you know, I'm obviously a Jaguar fan. And at the time, the Bengals were still in the same conference. So I got to see all the same teams. Of course, we hated Pittsburgh, just like everybody else hates Pittsburgh.
Everyone hates Pittsburgh.
But they traveled. So, started officiating high school back.
Okay.
You know, I felt like I was given this opportunity and I should find a way to get back. So I started officiating. It's not as easy as it looks. So that's why I take sympathy on officials sometimes. It's especially at the high speed and the pace of the game. It's really hard.
Which has been my point with the NFL.
Yeah.
The game is so fat, so much faster than
So
it's
much
ever been.
faster. Yeah. So, you know, I kind of got into basketball again. And then lo and behold, one of my closest friends asked me to coach his daughter in basketball. I'm like, I've never coached. So I loved it. You know, I kind of caught the bug. My wife is from here. She worked right down the street at Avon. This was her hangout for lunch. So we have a little, you know, thing.
There's a connection.
Yeah, there's definitely a history here. So we moved back, I get married. We moved down to Florida and all that. So we come back here. And I still remember it. I came back from a really bad business trip. I was supposed to be home at like 3 in the afternoon. I got home at 3:30 and I get in bed and I said to my wife, I think I want to go back to school and be a high school teacher and a basketball coach. And, you know, bless my wife. She says, go for it.
100%.
You know, and so we liquidated some property we had to subsidize our lifestyle. And, you know, here I am in college classes. You know, I'm in my 40s. And I'm in college classes with all these youngsters. And I'm like, holy shit, what did I get into? So I go to NKU because they had a program called Master's of Art in Teaching with an emphasis on business and marketing. So I become a teacher in my 40s. And I laugh about it because if you're a business person, I would say, here's a good business plan. I'm going to go spend a bunch of money to make a lot less
money. Yeah.
But I wasn't traveling 150 days a year. I mean, at one time I was a million miler with Southwest. I was silver medallion with Delta. I had every rental card.
Yeah.
I was, you know, silver elite with, Courtyard by Marriott.
I went through 2 years like that when my kids were little.
Yeah.
I was on the road. When I tallied up everything at the end of it, when it finally ended, I was on the road for almost 80% of the time for a 2-year stretch, and my kids were little.
Yeah.
They were 7, 4, and 1 when I hit the road.
Right.
Yeah.
And
part of my wife.
Yeah. And part of that decision is that's what my dad did, and he wasn't home. And so I wanted to be home, and it just all fit into place. And so I became a high school basketball coach where I coached for 16 seasons. I'll give a little shout out to my group down at Seven Hills.
Absolutely. Shout out.
I also coached at Covington Homes, and I coached where I teach now at Deer Park. So a lot of time in locker rooms working with young athletes. And if you know what it's like to be in that environment, that's part of the reason I feel Grant and I always kind of had a connection. Is I could talk what he was talking about and understand things that he was talking about that others really can't.
Yeah.
So we kind of have that bond, and we've always had that bond. And it's been fantastic watching him develop and his story, which we'll get into, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
Most people don't know that he's a triplet.
Right. Yeah, that was a fun fact.
Yes.
There's like the first thing you know he's a triplet.
Yeah.
No idea.
So I'll show this if you guys don't mind.
So take a look, guys.
So I'll just say that Grant was born here at University Hospital.
Here in Cincinnati, University downtown.
My brother lived in Marymount, but there were 3 sets of triplets born that week at that hospital. And so, like,
I've always said there's just too much estrogen in the water out here.
Well, that's exactly what people were contacting me, like, what's in the water in Cincinnati? And so, you know, here they are. They're in neonatal care, and Grant, of course, was the biggest, as I told you, at 3 pounds 15 ounces. I mean, my foot was bigger than they were.
Right.
So,
and his sister was 3 pounds 12, and brother was 3 pounds 10. I think is what the article is.
So there's Andrew, Claire, and Grant. So every Christmas I came home to be with my family. And so I come home and we go down there, and like I was so scared to go. I was in there and I'm looking up there because there's kids in there that may not make it.
No doubt.
I was wigged out, and I wouldn't touch them. I wouldn't hold them because I was just scared. But yet here's my wife, the future wife at the time, and she's
just hey.
And I'm like, I don't know how to hold a baby. I've never had one in my hand. They're very small. I'm scared to death, and so oh
wow.
So that's why they love Aunt Jenny, because Jenny's always had this bond. But that's also how I met my wife, was at a Bengals game.
All right. Okay.
And my brother.
So something good that actually happened down at that Bengal place. All right.
Well, my brother.
There you go, Bengal fans.
My brother-in-law is incredibly close with my older brother, and I knew my brother-in-law for about 15 years. And lo and behold, we always went to the last Bengals game of the year as a family. And Jeff comes down, and he will be here with me on Sunday. So you'll meet him. He'll probably be wearing a Jerky shirt for Jerky's Beef Jerky Company. So anyway, he brings her down, and I'm like, "Who's that?" He's like, "Well, that's my sister." I'm like, "Dude, I've known you 15 years. I didn't know you had a sister. What, are you hiding her from me?"
Apparently.
So we did a little long distance thing, and lo and behold, we've been together ever since.
Oh, nice. I love that.
And so it's been great. I'm blessed that my wife supported me when I decided to become a teacher. So not a lot of people would do that. And
I think there's something to be said for some, and I hate to sound stereotypical, but a little bit of Midwest values. I really do. I grew up on the Northeast, and I didn't move. I moved out here a month before my 27th birthday. Now, I grew up 45 minutes away from New York City. I used to go into the city all the time. Nearly 27 years running around over there, never slipped one past the goalie. I move out here, and within 6 months, I've got Michelle pregnant. So Midwest values, yeah, but there's definitely something in this water that
could be,
could be. And here we are. Years ago, 2025. So 19 years later, married, 3 kids. One of them about to graduate high school, hopefully. Grady, if you're watching, yes, I'm talking about you. One's 14, which Fanny. Grant is a triplet, 2 guys and a doll.
Yeah, we all have names. I have special nicknames for all of them.
Hayden says Deer Park. That's good water.
Yeah, Deer Park water. I get that.
Have you seen those shirts from Clearwater? So the Phillies have their spring training down in Clearwater, Florida, right outside of Tampa. In Philadelphia, they pronounce it water.
Yeah.
So they have shirts. Kelly Green T-shirts say Clearwater.
Yeah.
Spelled like that. Water.
Well, my boss, when I was in Florida, was from Philly.
Okay.
He's a huge Phillies fan, and we would go a lot to spring training. And
that's a cool area.
How can you not like spring training in Florida?
Green Legion wise, we actually have a huge following right in that area because of that. A lot of folks, Snowbird or whatever, have just relocated down to that. Philadelphia gets a lot of people into that Tampa area. Yeah. Whereas your New York folks are usually your Miami and Lauderdale.
They are all on the
Atlantic coast.
Yeah, absolutely. I lived in.
For my money, the left coast, the Gulf Coast, I much enjoy that more than the Atlantic. Don't get me wrong, I love the Atlantic, but in Tampa, if I could pick a place to retire, Tampa would be somewhere on that list. Short list. Scottsdale, Arizona.
A little dry heat, though.
Yeah, but you can hide from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Tampa, that heat comes in.
That humidity, I know. 10 years in Florida was an adjustment.
Blood thins out.
I remind my wife when I'm shoveling the driveway, we live 6 miles from the beach.
I remind my wife that our oldest is about to move out, which means I'm running out of people to shovel the damn snow.
There's not kids knocking on your door like when I was a kid.
Right? I clearly remember. I think I was like 13 years old, and me and my buddy Matt across the street, and I grew up in Connecticut, blizzards. We go, and I come home, and it was dinner time. My mother was furious. Have you been all day? My stepfather's standing there looking at me, like, dude, what the hell? Go into my pocket, I pull out this cold, wet,
right,
slam it down on the counter. I'm like, that's where I was all day.
Yeah.
And my stepfather just goes, all right.
He
would walk up. My mother was still furious. You should have checked in.
I do that every time it snowed here.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, yeah.
No, these kids don't do it anymore.
No, and it drives me
I
crazy.
went door to door with my
So did
brother.
I.
Yeah, my
And we
kids-
always knew where the little older ladies were.
absolutely.
We never charged them, but they would give us hot chocolate.
Oh,
Yeah.
Freezing cold.
There's no
It was
phones
better
and
than
text
$1.
messaging back then, so you could charge one person less than the other.
Oh, it didn't matter.
So yeah,
And we knew the little old ladies. We would walk up, we'd shovel the driveway for free. She'd be, "You want a hot chocolate?" Yeah, good. Got it.
Yeah, we looked at snow days as, we're banking $100 today.
Yeah, dude.
And it was
Oh, yeah.
my older brother Chris, my middle brother Craig. We would knock one driveway out, the three of us, and we're right on to the next one. And so we love snow days.
Yep.
Anybody knocking on my door? No.
David Loeb says 31-21 births. So again,
All right.
you know, if we crack 30, it's a wrap, dude. I just don't see them keeping up. But yeah. So
I don't see that.
now. So where were you? We're back here in Cincinnati.
Yeah, so we're back. We'll move on to Grant.
Are you good?
Yeah, that's-
I want
yeah.
you to take as much time
Oh,
as you
no,
want.
no,
We were on the triplets.
Yeah, we were on the
We're on the
trip. So you know they're
Okay,
triplets.
so
I
once-
will say when I would come to visit my brother, and it was kind of an amazing thing to watch them change triplets diapers. I mean,
I
my
can only
goodness.
imagine.
But
Jesus
to feed
Christ.
them was like he was a blackjack dealer in Vegas. I mean, they had their three little
my
trays
God,
up, and it's like,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh my God, man,
Yeah.
this is just incredible.
So for those of you that don't know, that maybe joined late, didn't see the tease earlier, this gentleman's name is Scott Calcaterra. Pretty much everybody in here is a Birds fan. You guys know one of our tight ends, Grant Calcaterra. This is his uncle. Lives local here in the Cincinnati area. He's joined our Midwest Eagles Nest group. He's been gracious enough to give us his time this evening to discuss his own story, also his nephew's story.
So when I moved back, one of the reasons we decided, my wife worked at Avon, and when we got married, we had an agreement that come down to Florida, check it out. And we just decided it was time to move back. We were actually looking at Charlotte because she had a job opportunity there. And Avon was going to hire her back before they kind of broke up.
Yeah.
So we talked about it and we're like, we want to start a family. And we would rather be around family to start a family, which I know you all
Always a good
appreciate.
call.
Yeah. So we decided to come back here. And of course, my brother and I, Chris, are really close. When I came home for Christmas, I didn't stay with my parents. I stayed with my brother.
Sure.
Visit his
Same
kids.
thing I do when I go visit.
My oldest nephew, Nick, is a converted Jaguar fan, by the way, as well. And believe it or not, Grant and Andrew were also Jaguar fans because of Uncle Scott. Because Uncle Scott was the Jaguar ticket holder, and they were kind of tired of the Bengals, who sucked. So we still are on a group
Imagine
chat.
that. Imagine preferring to be a Jaguars fan because the Bengals.
Well, and they were hot.
That's
and,
rough.
and actually, Nick came down. His first flight on his own was to Jacksonville to hang with my wife and I.
Oh, nice.
So, I was just always incredibly close to my older brother. Like I said, I stayed there. But so I call him up and I go, hey, man, guess what? We're moving back to Ohio. And he goes, guess what? We're moving to California.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, what? So he moves in June and we come up here in September. So, we were kind of bummed because, as I said, and I'm incredibly close with his wife, Diane. We used to call on the same accounts, and I would meet her on Fridays at Mercy Anderson, and we would do breakfast. And sometimes in between calls, I would stop at their house and do some work on the computer and then go to my next call. So, but he's also starting his family. So I would stay with them and hang out with the triplets and get to know them. And, they moved when Grant was 4.
So what precipitated the move?
My brother's job.
Yeah.
My brother is, his entire life, we're talking about doing the snow shoveling. My brother's always had that entrepreneurial spirit. I mean, we were kids, we would climb trees in California and pick mistletoe, bag it up and sell it door to door.
Excellent.
We're always hustling and trying to make money. And
I love
Chris has always been that way. He will tell you, you create your own luck in this world, and he's correct.
He is correct.
He's been very blessed in his career. He's had some really incredible jobs and has done some great things. So
That's awesome.
it broke my heart when he left. And the good thing is my wife's brother also lives about an hour
Okay.
away from my brother, and my brother knows their entire family from Miami of Ohio. So my wife has there's 4, and they're all J's. Jim, Jeff, Joe, and Jenny.
Jesus.
So when we go to the West Coast, we get to see Joe, and his wife are friends with my brother and his wife and their family. So we get to interact.
Everybody gets together. Yeah, that's cool.
So we go out to the West Coast to visit, and you could just kind of see the athleticism in my brother's kids. They're all pretty athletic. My niece Claire also was in the Big 12, played a little soccer.
I was going to ask.
Yeah.
It doesn't usually just stay to the one kid, right?
Yeah,
Usually
and Claire
it's
won
down.
they won a California high school state championship in soccer at Santa Margarita.
Okay.
And we'll talk about Santa Margarita when we get there. So, my brother's, sending all this information about the trip, or, Grant and Andrew playing football. And of course, Grant's just always been bigger than everybody else.
Yeah.
And so you could just see it in the videos he would send. And one time he was a running back, and he played various positions in PE.
Yeah.
As time went on, if you remember Monday Night Football, they used to have the Toyota tights on,
Oh, yeah, I remember
on
that.
halftime.
Yeah.
Grant was a Toyota tight.
That's excellent.
Yeah. I mean, so you just always knew,
Yeah.
But there again, they played lacrosse. They played basketball. I mean, I came out one time, they let me run their practice because I was a basketball coach.
That's cool.
So here I am doing all these drills with my two nephews, and it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, we're just a really tight family. I got two older brothers. Our birthdays are in the same week. I tell my mom and dad we're getting busy in September because we're all born in June. And every time my mom was pregnant, they would say, we'll have a girl born in July. Now, could you imagine me 6'8" as a female? I'm getting that love. So anyway, my brothers like to give me a hard time about it. So there's a lot of banter between our family. We're incredibly close. We talk regularly.
Fucking Keenan, I sold the house and been renting for 20 years just so I don't have to shovel snow or cut grass.
Oh, yeah, there we go. They know where it is. Yeah.
Amy.
Santa Margarita.
Amy's part of our group too.
All right, great. Yeah, you know it. Yeah, Mr. Viejo, you got it.
Yep.
So they went to Santa Margarita. Now,
Lou Dominguez giving you props. Very cool. You became a teacher and a coach.
Thank you.
Lou's a great dude.
Appreciate that.
Part of our brethren down in Florida.
I try to tell people you can do whatever you want to once you decide to do it.
Yeah.
And
you're passionate about it, right?
The other thing is if you step away, like I stepped away from basketball, but in a way, destiny was to bring me back to it. Sure. And I love that. I just love the fact that I'm willing to roll the dice and don't fear failure. Go for it. You can always pick yourself back up. And
you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Absolutely. So I try to instill that in my students. Hey, you're going to fail a lot, but keep trying.
Always keep trying.
Nothing wrong with comments, by the way. I really do.
There's nothing wrong with failure. There's only something wrong with never getting back up on the horse.
Yeah, or boo-hooing. Like how many people we know that we work with, and I didn't get out of what I did because I didn't like it. I loved it. I just felt I had achieved all the goals I had set, and I was looking for new challenges.
There you go.
And as a manager, what do? You're teaching. No one told me about classroom management though, because let me tell you, that's not easy. And any of you teachers out there, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They don't teach you that in school.
No.
So you got to kind of learn as you go.
Kick the ball into play.
Absolutely. So as Grant progresses, we'll go back to that.
Yeah.
All right. So, Grant's in high school. He's playing freshman, JV, Santa Margarita. For those that don't know, that's where Carson Palmer went and is now the new head coach.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So a lot of famous people went there. Michael Thompson, the basketball player, he's a graduate from there. And then some of the people that Grant played with in high school is really kind of how it set him up. If you remember, KJ Costello still holds the record in the SEC for the most yards in one game. I think it's 600 and some odd yards. I don't know.
That name's familiar.
So he started out at Stanford, played 3 years at Stanford,
and
then transferred down. And then, fortunately, after he had that record-setting game, he hurt his back. Kind of ended his career.
And that was it. Oh, wow.
Dylan Crawford, he changed his name to Kakeo. He went to Michigan.
Okay.
Now, they were seniors when Grant was a junior. So they had the key on Crawford. KJ just starts throwing to Grant. And all of a sudden, Grant's getting right on the radar.
Yeah.
So, my brother's giving us all the details all the time. And I'm just.
Everybody's amped up.
Amped up. And then senior year, he's like, I go, I want to come out. Because my brother-in-law, Jeff, as I said, who will be here, he went in.
Yeah.
And he came back and he goes, dude, you're just not going to believe how good he is. I'm like, okay, I'm in high school, so I see all football games, I mean, what's around here? They're in the Trinity League, very similar to the GCL. You got Modern Day, you got John Bosco, Jay Serra. So really strong conference. So I go out. And I mean to tell you, I was like, that's a man amongst boys.
Uh-huh.
I mean, and he's just a receiver. He's not a tight end.
He's just towering over.
Yeah, he's a wide receiver.
Yeah.
And then you had Brett Nealon, the center, who went to USC to play. Unfortunately, his career he had a couple of Achilles, but here's a guy that is now playing for Lincoln Riley that Grant played for Lincoln Riley. So their team is very good. They play their games not at the high school, but at a junior college that's a huge junior college. And I'm going to this game, and I'm like, this is a totally different environment than
Stadium.
Yeah, just it was a stadium. I'm like, this is a high school game. It happened to be homecoming. So like it was a brief trip because I flew in and flew out. And if you go to the West Coast, you know that's kind of a pain.
That's a pain.
But yeah, I walked away and I'm like, man, he's the real deal.
Yeah,
he is the real deal. So then he goes to the opening 7v7, and nobody knows this, but he was the MVP for offense. Guess who his quarterback was? Tua.
Oh wow!
So if you go up,
Yeah,
if you go to YouTube and you look at some old highlights and you see Grant was just chewing it up, and now he's on the radar even bigger.
Sure.
Of course, my oldest nephew Nick went to Oregon, and Grant and Andrew and Claire would go up. My brother would send them up to visit their older brother. Guess who he meets? Marcus Marion. This is when Grant's younger, so he wants to go to Oregon because his older brother went to Oregon, but they had a coaching change that wasn't happening.
Yeah,
Grant got I want to say 20 offers. Don't quote me on that, but Bob Stoops comes to the house, has breakfast with my brother's family. That was it.
Yeah,
that's what sealed the deal. So Grant ends up at Oklahoma.
That face-to-face, people don't get it, dude. It gets lost in translation with all the instant gratification bullshit now. That sit down face-to-face is still what any parent would want.
Well, I also think you can see if the coach is full of crap.
Yeah, you can take it because you can read his face.
Right,
Like,
exactly. And Bob was true. And so Grant's going to Oklahoma. Grant gets there. If you look at this roster, it's sick, man. So who's his mentor? Mark Andrews. Okay. And a lot of people don't know this, but Mark is a type 1 diabetic. So he's got to come out and get his blood tested. Hey, guess what? Here's your opportunity, Grant.
So he got instant opportunity.
So, and who's his first quarterback? Baker Mayfield, which they become incredibly close. They refer to Grant as Scrappy. Because
you got to see some of these pictures after the show.
So amazing. Grant is scrappy, but his and I brought some visual aids. I hope
you
don't mind.
Open them up, man. No.
Grant's very first catch in college was a touchdown against TCU from Baker in the end zone. I know I had this marked. I apologize.
No, you're fine. Take your time, man. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So there again, here it is.
Look at this.
He's in Sports Illustrated. Double page.
Grant Calcaterra.
First catch in college is a touchdown.
That is awesome.
And when Baker throws a touchdown, he does his little run.
Of course.
Okay. But the other thing about this picture that you'll get a kick out of that I didn't notice is, or it's in the other one. It's in this one. So TCU.
Yeah.
All right. So you got Lincoln Riley. You've got Trey Sermon. You've got C.D. Lamb.
I was a big fan of Trey Sermon.
Yeah, he was on the Eagles practice squad.
I know.
That was Grant's roommate.
Yep. I liked Trey Sermon.
Well,
we talked about him last year.
From the injury. He transferred to Ohio State, but that was one of Grant's roommates.
Was Sermon?
Was Trey
I
Sermon.
liked him. I liked
really
the
good
guys.
guy.
Yeah.
You've got Creed Humphrey, Hollywood Brown, C.D. Lamb.
Yep.
You've got Orlando Brown Jr. You've got Cody Ford. They're just stacked.
Yeah.
So we went to, he comes to Ohio State. We go to that game. What a great time.
And Baker plants the flag.
Now here's the interesting. Yeah, Baker plants the flag. So Grant's triplet brother actually is going to Ohio State.
Oh shit.
So here we are up in Ohio State, and we're all in the Oklahoma fan section. But Andrew was smart because he's afraid if I'm wearing an Oklahoma Sooner jersey, I might get my ass kicked on the way home. So he's wearing an Eddie George jersey because we grew up Ohio State Buckeye fans. Not only did we have the Bengals tickets, my brother had Ohio State season tickets.
Oh, wow.
So I went to the very first Big Ten game that Penn State was in at the shoe.
1993?
Right before I moved to. And then when I moved back, my brother still has the tickets. What does he do? He gives me the Michigan-Ohio State game that launched the Buckeyes into the championship.
Oh, wow.
Once again, that's my brother being giving.
Yeah.
So Anyway, they're loaded. Oklahoma's just loaded.
Yeah.
And he really becomes very tight with Baker, and he's pretty much hanging out with Baker and Mark a lot. And when Claire came down from K-State, there's Baker and Mark and my nephew holding signs and rooting on his little sister. And so, we've kind of gotten to know them a little bit through Grant, obviously.
Yeah.
So freshman year, he's learning, he's getting on the radar. It's great. Baker wins the Heisman. Baker literally flew up a bunch of people to the Heisman Trophy ceremony, one being Grant. And then they're so close that Grant was actually in his wedding party.
Yeah.
So, that just.
That's what I was telling you, the pictures. You got to see these pictures.
So, yeah, I mean, a lot of people want to rag on Baker, but what I refer to as a coach is a junkyard dog. And I'll take any junkyard dog. He's the type of guy you want on your team. He's a great teammate.
And he's a leader.
Yep.
He's what you want out of a quarterback.
Yeah.
I like Baker Mayfield. I think he's tough. He's a tough guy.
So that year moves on and enter Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
And I'll show you this picture as well.
Then
But,
really
so it's CD Lamb and it's Grant.
Yeah.
Okay. Trey Sermon, Hollywood Brown was still there, but you lost a little bit of the offensive line. Of course, Creed's still there. So if you know the history of the Big 12, and please YouTube this, but I would say that Grant is really the reason that they won the Big 12 championship. He had 2 catches, and I know during Dallas he had the one-handed catch where you could see where he got that. He caught a one-handed catch in the end zone to basically win the Big 12 championship.
Yeah, the hands on him, man. He is really good.
And the other picture that's in here I'll show you is Jalen, because he was Alabama.
He's
okay, so that year, they went to the playoffs 4 years in a row.
Yep.
So the first year was out in the Rose Bowl. They lost to Georgia by 3.
Yep.
Of course, we still talk about the fact that they just scored a touchdown before the end of the first half, and somehow the special teams coordinator decided to squib kick. Georgia took that ball right down and scored, changed the whole momentum, and what did they lose by? 3 points. Okay, so then the next year.
Get Fanny started on the SEC. She's a Bama fan.
I'm sorry. I don't want to sound harsh, but I did go to. So they win the Big 12 and they make it to the playoffs. They're going to play Alabama down at the Orange Bowl, my own stopping ground. I'm going. So we go down there, and of course, Alabama's very good. No offense, Fanny, but they are the most obnoxious fans I've ever come across. And I get it. It's because they don't have a pro team, and this is all they have. But I don't need to hear after every first down, roll tide, roll. But anyway.
That's kind of like us saying go Birds. They use this, please.
I know, but
you're welcome. How you
doing? I just happened to be sitting by some people that really didn't know sports that well. But true fans, and I respect it. Great team, great coach. Great story as far as Tua and Jalen and all that. So we kind of got blown out a little bit in that game.
I would. Yeah.
So now we roll into Grant.
Bama team
they were very good, and there's no doubt you can't deny that. Great coaching. I mean, you got to love Nick Saban, and you can't deny their talent.
So he's the best college coach in the history.
No doubt. And obviously, I'm biased.
Sure.
Junior year rolls around. Okay, so Grant's stock price is going way up. Top 50 pick. And Jalen comes. All right. Instant connection. Grant's a leader on that offensive team. And Jalen comes in. You've seen the video of the 600 squat, 600-pound squat. And it's basically CD and Grant, Trey Sermon, and Jalen. And of course, Creed. You can't deny Creed Humphrey. And by the way, they had a great field goal kicker. Austin Siebert was phenomenal. So, things are rolling.
Yeah.
Well, in spring practice, Grant had a concussion. Grant had some concussions in high school. The concussions for Grant, by the way, weren't always in games. He did get one against Texas in the regular season game. And then he got 2 more in practice.
Oh, shit.
And so Grant he has the video.
Yeah.
And I'm like watching this. I'm like, dude, and I do the Allen Iverson. It's practice. It's practice, dude. But that's Grant. If he's going to go, I'm going to give you 100%. I don't care if it's practice or a game.
Yeah.
So, he gets his 3rd concussion, and he's getting evaluated by doctors and neurologists, and and saying, "Hey, man, you should play again." And he's getting this feedback, and here's a kid that's 19, 20 years old trying to make a decision about his future because he's thinking he's going to the NFL, and I'm a top 50 pick, and now you're telling me I'm never going to play.
Right. Like that's talk about a shock to the system.
Shock to our,
Everyone.
Yeah, to everyone. So, he took the advice of a neurologist. He sat down, and it's on YouTube too. He wrote a letter, his retirement letter. It's just heart-wrenching.
Jesus.
And our family's hurting,
Yeah.
So what we did do is we already had this plan. We went to the house in the prairie. If you ever been to Oklahoma, it's an incredible stadium. But we still went up to the game, even though we had it planned. And this is my entire family. My cousins from St. Louis, my aunt, my brother in Charlotte, Craig, and his wife. And we got everybody there. We all had jerseys. We all took pictures. Grant takes us through the entire locker room, the workout facility, and I'm like, oh my God.
Right?
Just incredible.
Yeah.
But you could just see he just wasn't right. He's pissed. He's not getting to play. So, we go up there, we have our things. That's November. Sure enough, they make it to the playoffs. And now they're playing in the Peach Bowl in Atlanta against LSU.
Yep.
So, I call my brother up and I'm like, hey man, are you going? He goes, no, I'm not going to go. I can't be around it. And I'm like, well, who's going to be there for Grant? And he's like, nobody. I said, well, I'm going. So, we pack up the car, and as a teacher, it's kind of the holiday break. So I have a little time, and, we drive down, and that used to be part of my territory as well. Cause I covered the whole Southeast. That's why I know so much about Nashville, but Atlanta was, I was there all the time. And if you're flying in the South, you're going through Atlanta. I had a bunch of sales reps up there. So I knew the city well. So we get together, and I take him out to some of the places I used to run around for dinner and stuff. And we're just hanging out, and it's just him and I. And we're talking.
Buffalo wings at the strip club. That kind of shit.
No, we didn't go to the Cheetah, man. How do I know about the Cheetah? So we're hanging. We're having a good time. We're relaxed, and then we go to the game. Cool thing is. In my opinion, it might be the best college football team in LSU I've ever seen. I mean,
Joe Burrow. Yeah.
Oh my God,
60
Chase.
touchdowns.
Oh my goodness,
Chase and Jefferson and all that help. They were holy, good Lord.
So yeah, I mean, they got blown out.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'd like to say that's because Grant was playing, but they got blown.
Definitely had something to do with it.
So they got blown out, and now we're doing the meet and greet like we get to do in Philly when we go up, and we're down underneath and Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Great stadium, by the way. I don't know if you've been there. Yep. It's a great stadium.
Funniest part of the stadium, when you go on a Sunday, and there's Chick-fil-A. That dark corner that's Chick-fil-A, because they don't
serve on Sunday.
Hysterical.
But mentioning that, guess what's in their meet and greet place is nothing but all the Chick-fil-A you can eat. So, we go down there to be with Grant, and we're sitting there eating our Chick-fil-A, and we're like in a corner, and all these other players are doing their thing, but Grant doesn't feel a part of it anymore. So,
that is just gut wrenching, man.
Well, I look over and he's crying, which made me cry.
Yeah.
And, you watch this kid who had all of it in front of him and all of it taken away.
Oh, my God.
So, it's really sad. It's sad for our family. This is what he loves. It was his dream to try and make it to the NFL. And, you're watching this kid, go through it. And it's just crazy. The whole ride home, I mean, my wife and I were just depressed about it.
Yeah, dude. I would have been crying too.
But does he wallow in it? No. What does he do? I want to be a firefighter. He's always wanted to be a firefighter. He goes and gets his EMT license. And I don't know if you know this, but they did a story about Grant in the first Super Bowl, but he did his EMT training in Arizona across the street from the stadium that they played that Super Bowl.
I've been out there too.
So, here it is, a full circle moment for a kid, but we'll get to how he got there.
Yeah.
Okay. So, he's got a job lined up. He wants to be an LA firefighter, but he can't let it go. I mean, and I said this earlier, sometimes when you step away, destiny brings you back.
Sure.
So he, he's got this job all lined up, to try and start getting into EMT and then eventually getting into it. But he had been working with some neurologists. He'd been talking to a lot of doctors. He gets cleared. And of course, I'm like, my brother calls me and goes, Grant's going to go back. I'm like, what? don't do it. Don't, as a
Right.
basketball coach, you always have to err on the side of caution.
Right. Well, it's your nephew.
And he's, so, but yet he's an adult.
True story.
You know what I'm saying?
That's very true.
So he actually signed it off, but they fired Gus. And Gus goes down to UCF, and lo and behold, the new hire was the Boise State coach. Okay, so Grant had committed. Of course, I went out and bought all this gear. And Grant, to this day, still is like, oh man, I feel bad you bought all. Dude, this is shit I can wear in the yard.
Right.
It's yard work t-shirts and hats, So anyway, he waits to talk to the coach, and the Boise State coach doesn't throw to the tight end. So Grant does the call, hangs up and goes, I'm not going there. They're not going to throw to me.
I won't get the ball.
So he's looking at all these other colleges. And somehow SMU comes on the radar. And the reason is Lincoln Riley's little brother, Garrett Riley, was the offensive coordinator.
Son of a bitch.
And Grant's roommate, Tanner Mordecai, is now transferred to SMU. So they're in his ear.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, it's going to SMU. Awesome. They're in UC's conference.
Uh-huh.
So, okay, we can follow. Of course, they played here.
Yep.
All right. And so you got Sonny Dykes as his head coach. You got Garrett Riley as his
OC.
offensive coordinator. Yep. And they were good. It wasn't the league we were used to.
Of course.
Goodness gracious, the Big 12 at the time with Texas. And, goodness gracious, what a conference. So we're like, okay, you know what? He made it back. That was his dream, to make it back.
Yep.
And he got back. And, we thought, okay, is people, are they really looking at him? So
it's a good call here. Keenan. So the Eagles could have drafted another firefighter. Not bad.
Well, if you look at what Grant does his Cleats for Cause, it's always the Fireman's Foundation.
I think that's excellent.
And he gets them all flamed up. And now my oldest nephew I told you about that went to Oregon, he belongs to a group similar to this. Grant went up there and they auctioned them off.
Oh, that's so cool.
So, it's cool. And he did it again this year. He does. That's his cause he believes in, and that's what he wants to do. And I know right now, because of those LA fires, man, that he's watching.
Feeling it, man.
He's watching. So he goes to SMU. He's captain of the team. He has a good season, and he gets invited to the Senior Bowl.
Yep.
And then from that, and by the way, his coach at the Senior Bowl was Dan Campbell, because Detroit sucked.
Right.
And so he's there. And
so this is the 7-on-7, right?
No, this is Senior Bowl.
This is Senior
7-on-7 was before he actually got into college.
That's right. Yeah.
So he goes to Senior Bowl, and he's on the radar. But let's face it, there's Trey McBride. There's a lot of good tight ends that came out of Grant's draft here. So, but he's getting exposure. So he gets invited to the NFL Combine in Indy. And I always tell people, man, you want to go check something out, it's free. Yeah. Go. You can just show up. You can just show up. They give you these little headphones, and it's really cool. So, I'm talking to Grant, man, he's coming, and then we talk the night before, and he goes, I'm not sure I'm going to do anything. I sprained my ankle. Damn. And here he is. He's getting his opportunity, and here we are again. Maybe he'll be an undrafted free agent, or he won't get picked at all. So I talked to him, and then I'm like, it doesn't sound like he's going to compete. So I woke up, and I looked at my wife, and said, I don't give a shit. I'm going. So I get there. He doesn't even know I'm there. Okay, so he does the 40. He runs a 4.5 on a sprained ankle. If you go and watch that video, it's pretty amazing. It's a fucking tight end on a sprained ankle. On a sprained ankle, he's running a 4.5. You got to remember, he was a receiver, and Grant actually has some jets. He's not a slow kid. No. So no, we love him. Are you kidding me? Especially the Italian last name. I grew up. My mother's maiden name is Vertucci. Like that was my whole childhood was the Italians. We'd have a 12-pound turkey and 90 different trays of lasagna at Thanksgiving. This is what my but now I really know if you're Italian if you call your red sauce great. Got two different sides of the family. Funny part, Costanzo, not Costanza, like the Seinfeld show. Costanzo and Vertucci. One side called it gravy, the other side called it sauce. So it didn't fucking matter. Like you just call it whatever you wanted to call it. So Grant doesn't know I'm there. So he's done with this events and the new grip. If you've ever been there, they come in shifts with like the receivers come in, tight ends, etc. So I text him. I say, hey man, I'm here. You are? Like, yeah, I'm here. go to dinner. So it's just him and I in the bar, eating dinner, chatting, and we're like, okay, we're trying to figure out what's going to happen. And this is when I learned that the press doesn't know crap.
Yeah.
Because the Eagles were never in a mention in any kind of publication. It was the Titans, the Bengals, the Colts, the Bears. And I'm thinking, damn, this is great. I can drive everywhere.
Driving distance, yeah, all of it, right?
So we're all excited. I'm like, yeah. And then draft comes. Getting past. And Grant is a quiet kid. He's not flashy. He's just really quiet, reserved. So, they got him all at my brother's house. And of course, there's my brother's fifth child, who is Brian Sandito. I'm going to give him some props. He lives in Philly, by the way.
Nice.
And I was just with him. Funniest guy. He's just hilarious. So, but Chris was like, is it okay if Brian comes in? He's like, absolutely. That's like our fifth kid.
Yeah.
So they're getting there, and then Howie makes the call. And I mean,
so this is late Saturday now.
Yeah. Sixth round.
Yep.
198th pick.
Yep.
And okay, we're like, holy shit.
A long time to wait.
He's going to a good team, and he's back with Jalen.
Yeah.
They have a great rapport. And maybe I've never asked Grant, but I'm assuming Jalen had some say or some feet or some input into.
Probably like, hey, at this point in the draft, we're looking to bolster the depth. You played with this guy. Give us the rundown.
Exactly. So
Jalen probably told everyone he had a purpose before anyone else had a dream and whatever the hell Jalen likes to say.
Well, it's so funny, man. I mean, if you listen to the phone call, he seems so hip to me, like he's in touch with his kids, and he's a master.
Totally.
So
in Howie we trust.
He gets to camp, and he does pretty good in OTAs. Gets there for training camp. Has a hamstring issue. He didn't play in any of the preseason games except for the last one. So we're thinking, and he might get cut.
Yeah, practice.
But there again, he got drafted.
Yeah.
And then we're thinking practice squad.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, made the 53-man roster. And you got Dallas and Jack in front of him, and then Grant. So Grant was pretty much a special teams guy learning. Yeah. And who better to learn from than Dallas Goedert?
Oh, yeah, Goedert's fantastic.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, Grant got trained by Mark and then learns from Dallas.
Yep.
And Grant just says he's incredible. I mean, he really is. He's just incredible tight end. And he's learned so much from him, and he's so supportive.
So you see what the Eagles did there. I was just smart about it. So Dallas, violence with his blocking, right? Like he's got to throw himself around because he's big, but he's not the biggest guy in the fight. It's tight end. Violence with his blocking, good hands, good routes, right? Calcaterra, good hands, good routes. Still needing to learn the blocking. Stoll is the other way.
Right.
He's out there to throw the hammer around, not so much on routes and hands.
Cornfed Nebraska.
Yeah, but you see how the Eagles did that, right? So, okay, on specific, if Dallas has to sit, which let's be honest, Dallas has had his injury problems of late.
Yeah.
I've got two guys there that can kind of fill that void. I've got Grant when I need to stretch the field, and I've got Jack when I need to just come and smash somebody in the face, right?
Exactly.
So, I mean, it just kind of makes sense.
You throw the ball near Granny, most likely.
And he's most likely going to hoover that thing, man. Yeah, that kid's got an amazing hand.
Oh, yeah. Originally,
like when the catch on deck,
bro, when he had to, so that was what that was. That's when we clinched. Was that afternoon, wasn't it? That's that one-handed grab
against Dallas.
Against Dallas, was that the clincher? Or was that was it the first game or the second game?
It was the second game in.
So that's when we clinched.
Yeah.
So we're all here. There's 75 people here. Our biggest head count so far to that point, right? And this kid hauls that ball in. Now this is against Dallas, so we're just wrapping it anyway. This kid hauls that one-hander in. This place exploded. You'd have thought there was 300 people in here. That's how loud it was.
Like I said, we saw it before, so we knew.
Yeah, so you knew. Yeah,
I knew he can do that.
We just knew he had good hands.
Well, the better thing was his first touchdown was the day that Saquon went over 2,000 yards. How do you get any better than that?
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So there's the memorable moment for us.
Sure.
So, but to the flip, a lot of people, I think, were a little leery of Grant when Dallas went down. And obviously, you can see the production. They're going to throw to Dallas a lot more. Fine. Grant needs to improve in his blocking. And let's say he has.
Sure.
I mean, he really has improved because that's the type of work ethic he has.
Yeah.
And he knew that. It's like, how do I get better? He's got a great tight end coach. Coach Michael's great.
I mean, so he's got the hands, he's got the route running, he's got the speed.
Right.
just the barking, man.
I mean,
That's all. And I think he has gotten better.
He's gotten much better.
More.
He's
Yeah.
been on the field for a couple of those state one.
Absolutely. Yeah, he is here in Cincinnati. He really sealed a lot of people. Actually, you guys were at the game, so you didn't. I don't know if you're taping these like I do, but I go back and watch him, and that they were talking about his sealing. Hendricks, he gave Hendricks all kinds of fits.
Right, which is a task all unto itself.
It is.
Hendrickson is a lunatic.
So that game here.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that had to be a cool experience.
Well, we were in Lot D. So then you guys came by our place and gave us cards because there was a group of us.
Wilson, you went to Lot D. I'm pretty sure you went. I'm pretty sure you went to Lot B, or which one? You went to one.
You're like under the underpass. It's to the right.
Oh, you're down.
Back.
Yeah, no,
we're on the other end. We're closer to the Freedom Center.
Yeah, no, you were the other way. We were at the Filson with the Green Legion tailgate.
Okay. And I didn't know about you guys. I would have sought you out.
Good. You're good.
So, believe it or not, we were actually tailgating with Joe Burrow's dad and Hendrick's dad.
Oh, that's cool.
Hendrickson's dad. So, and my brother and them were having some interesting dad conversations, just about kids and stuff. And well, just, you live in fear of hurt because let's face it, it's a violent game.
Very much so.
But we had a blast. But so, as I mentioned, we had tickets for 42 years. My dad's deceased. He's not able to be there. I'll get emotional. I'm sorry.
It's okay, man.
So, Grant, his middle name is Robert after my dad. He wears my dad's Italian horn.
Excellent.
So as this game's coming on, Grant's at the hotel, and my brother grew up in Marymount. There's a crew of people. Our vacation spot has always been for our family, Norris Lake. And if you ask any of my nieces and nephews and all of my family, and you say, what's your favorite vacation? They'll say Norris Lake.
Okay.
I mean, that's where my parents' ashes were released.
Got it. All right.
So Grant comes over. We're having a little gathering on Saturday. He's got very limited time before he's got to get back to the hotel. And I brought him my dad's watch. And I said, I want him to be there. So Grant wore that. Kept it in the locker.
Oh, that's cool, man.
So yeah, it was special because and my brother didn't sit with us.
Full circle.
My brother sat down by where his old seats were.
Sure.
And which was right behind the opposing team, section 140, row 2, 50-yard line. So you get to see the whole team.
Yep.
And for him, that was really the full circle moment.
Yeah.
So lo and behold, he had 3 catches.
Mm-hmm.
And that, to hear his name and being announced in that stadium where my dad took us as kids, it doesn't get better.
Oh, I had to give you chills.
Doesn't get better. No, It was great. And then I will say this, though, their meet and greet area sucks. It's outside right next to the buses. So you're breathing in diesel fuel, like a typical Bengals being cheap. But we're very thankful.
It just never stops with that fucking organization.
But
they're the cheapest pieces of shit owners. Man,
Crazy.
they're so bad.
So I don't know what they do in the middle of the winter. I don't know if they move it in, but it's this little tiny.
Probably make you
area.
go to that bubble practice facility over there.
Well, you can only bring in like 4 people at a time.
Yeah.
And then the 4 people have to leave. Well, we went to Indy when they played over there the first season, but so anyway, it's cool because you get to see other guys and talk to them.
Yeah, sure.
So Saquon's right there and Lane's right there, and Nick comes out and talks to the Brown twins. I mean, it was really cool. And of course, we all love Big Dom.
Yeah.
Got to give props to Big Dom. So yeah, that was awesome. And then they make it to the playoffs, and I look at my wife and I go, "We need to go because I'm never going to make it to the Super Bowl because it's ridiculously priced when you cash it out." And
Top of the stadium's 3,500.
Exactly. Now that's through the Eagles.
Low end.
Yeah, and then like mid sections through the Eagles is. I think my brother told me 55 to 7,700. 2 tickets, flights. You're in for 15 grand.
God, it's not like that.
So
I was in New Orleans earlier this year. I got my victory.
My wife's off on Martin Luther King. I'm off on Martin Luther King. Normally I drive. I'm like, no, we're flying. Of course, my brother, he's a networker, man.
Yeah.
He gives us a hookup at the Ritz-Carlton. I'm on the 26th floor. I look out. There's William Penn, all lit up in green.
Excellent.
And I'm like, this is just incredible.
Yeah.
So I get to the game. We're tailgating, and my brother hangs out in this one little section. I can't really tell you where it is, but they're crazy, and I love them. They were doing cheesesteaks with the great bread Amarissa spread, and they were green. They were
That's what you were saying earlier.
Green cheesesteaks.
Green cheesesteaks.
So
I've never seen it. I don't know that I would eat it.
It just tastes the same.
Yeah,
I
would hope
does,
so.
But my sister-in-law's or my niece is there, Grant's wife, which is another interesting story. So we're there, and my brother likes to go in an hour before and watch warm-up. So we're making our way to the door. He goes, "Here you go, man." I go, "What's that?" He goes, "That's a pregame field pass." Like, what? Yeah, dude, it's your turn. So I go down there, and once again, I'm wearing my dad's jacket, so I want him to be there.
Yeah,
just incredible. I'm out on that field, and I mean, I'm a big dude, as you know. I'm 6'8", and I'm watching these guys come out. And I'm like, damn, they're huge. But I'm in the end zone, not on the side. Right. Normally you're on the side, but they let us be in the end zone. So you see all the groups come out. You see the running backs come out. So you got Will Shipley and Saquon and Kenny. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you got the defense, and man, those guys are monsters. And then so they're doing their whole routine. And then Grant comes over, and we take the picture like I said. Yeah. And I walk out, and the first person I ran into is my brother. Dude, I cried like a baby.
I don't blame you.
I mean, I cried.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely, man. That is such an awesome freaking experience, dude.
So yeah.
And then your whole family just comes full circle like that. It's so cool, man. It really is awesome.
Grant and Sophie went to the middle school. Okay, so then they separated. Grant went to the Catholic school, and then Sophie went to public school to Sora. So Grant's at Oklahoma, and Sophie stands cheer. So she's coming up to be recruited. She's going on a recruit trip at Oklahoma. So what does she do? She reaches out to Grant and go, "Hey man, after the recruit trip's over, can you show me the real Oklahoma?" Been together ever since.
Oh, that's cool.
And her parents, I've been to 2 games in Philly, and they've both been with her. My brother and Diane, his wife, and Chris and Andre are really, really close. It's a great family situation. And they're going to the Super Bowl together.
Sure.
Grant only gets 13 tickets. So, and they only get 2 free, which I think is ridiculous.
So he pays for the rest of those.
Well, one, yeah.
The tab or whatever.
No, we buy them through the Eagles.
Okay.
So every player gets charged. We either Venmo or sell Grant, or Sophie is what we do. Sophie kind of handles it all.
Never quite understood how that.
Yeah, like in college, you got tickets, and they would barter between each other. Like, hey, my family's not coming in, you can have these 4, and then when my family's not coming in, you can have them. And so Grant could get 15 tickets sometimes to Oklahoma games,
right?
And they were free. Yeah, you had to go through all the security check and ID and all that, but it was really cool. But I mean, NFL so many people think that they get all this free, and maybe Jalen or Saquon. I don't, maybe they do. I don't know. Grant's not at that level.
Patrick Mahomes,
exactly. They get suites or whatever. But no, we get them through the Eagles. So, yeah. So there's my story, man.
I mean, I guess but that's a really great story, man. Like, that's awesome. All of that.
I'm blessed to talk about it. This kid
from your own background to your nephew to your brothers, tying it all in with your father, and that's how I get emotional sometimes. It's all right.
It's tough.
It's okay.
You just miss your parents when you're parentless. And he was the guy that would have appreciated it the most. I mean, he would have been in heaven. I mean, football was it for him. Yeah. And we talk about it all the time. I mean, we talk about how much we miss him and how much he would have enjoyed this.
How long ago? If you don't mind my asking.
It'll be 10 years here this April. My mom passed in 19. We and telling the stories about shoveling driveways, we get that from my dad. Yeah. My dad was that way, and he instilled that in us, But, for Grant, it's about courage, perseverance, hard freaking work.
Oh, look what
people are saying you can't do it. Let me show you. Yeah. And so, and I mentioned this earlier, it's hard to read stuff when he's young and it's a wasted draft pick or whatever was printed. And I get it. Yeah. I get it. I know that's not necessarily true fans.
And that's the key, right?
So you have your fringe
people, these idiots you see all over these Facebook groups that are just, they freak out every time Jalen throws an incomplete pass. These are the people saying that that's a wasted pick. Right. People like Roger, people like myself, Josh is another one who would have looked at that pick and been like, all right, well, we needed a tight end. Right. Well, let me go see what this kid's all about. And, why did he slip to the 6th round? right? He played at Oklahoma. He was at SMU. These aren't like shit colleges, right? Like, where did this come from? He had Baker Mayfield. He had Kyler Murray. What happened? And you go read, and then you find out, he fell on some bad luck with the head injuries.
Right.
Tried to go turn around and be a firefighter.
And he will be when he retires.
Which is amazing, by the way. Anybody that is willing to run into a burning building has my utmost respect from the get-go, because it's not a natural act. It's like jumping out of an airplane.
Well, he'll tell you part of the reason, the luster of it is it's a team environment.
Yeah.
And that's all he knows.
Your brothers.
You know what I'm saying? And that's where do you get that environment unless it's in sports?
Yeah.
And I'm always telling people who are ex-athletes, hey, if you want to keep the competition, go be a coach, because you can teach them the right way to play.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like if you've played, you're generally going to be a good coach because you get all of it that goes with it.
Yeah.
The preparation. So yeah, I'm stoked for him. We're so excited.
I think this is awesome. As if the Eagles,
we hope we just
get over the goal line this time, right?
Yeah. I mean,
let's get it done this time.
Get it done. I mean, you have no idea how bad I want to win, just from a standpoint of for Jalen. I feel like Jalen deserves this.
So
I feel Saquon deserves it. I feel like a lot of people on that team really have paid their dues, and it's their turn.
I agree.
And that's what I just think they're so zeroed in and focused.
I think you and I were on the same page when we won. Now, look, had we lost the NFC Championship game, I would have been rooting for Buffalo the rest of the way out. When we won, I wanted Kansas City. I wanted vengeance. Have him stand up next to you, Gilmore. It's useless act.
Like you can't.
No, you can't fit in the
You're only going to see our ways.
He's got to sit further back, or I can't get the camera. I agree with you.
I really do. I appreciate you letting me come on here and talk about it.
This is fantastic. This is what we do this for. Like, a lot of times I end up doing this on my own. And don't get me wrong, I can babble about the birds for days. But having someone else to come on and talk it with, and then having someone else to come on give this side of things, tell your own story and do all it. Like we talked about, you heard Mike and I talk about the guy we call Matt. He came on and he's got all kinds of stories, man. He's pushing 80 years old. He's got it. Dave Thompson is his name. He'll be back. He doesn't cuss a whole lot. Forgot that he booked a trip for him and his wife for their anniversary during the Super Bowl. Looked down at his phone and just went, shit. He'll be back afterwards. I think he wants to do this next week. It's either that or it's the week after. But he wants to come back on and talk a little birds. But yeah, it's a more enjoyable experience with more people.
Well, I just think it's incredible what you do. I mean, listening to your story of how this got built up, your dedication.
So that's going to be a fun story.
Yeah,
Can I actually sit down?
I'm looking forward to it.
So this is what I do through the Green Legion. Mike and I have aspirations of doing a Midwest Eagles Nest podcast as well, and maybe not a weekly thing, but just another one. And that first episode will be us telling that story.
Yeah,
and it's 19 years old at this point.
To get this all organized the way you have, your attention to detail, your passion.
Yeah.
And I know I'm new. And I've texted you and said, were you ever a teacher or a coach? Because you sound like a teacher or a coach to me.
I'm an operations manager for warehouse logistics, inventory control. But when you're in that, I don't ever look at it as I'm managing people. I look at it as I'm leading people. Right.
Exactly.
I think there's a vast difference between a manager and a leader. A manager is barking orders. A leader is helping the people grow. The biggest thing I can put on my resume, which you never do because you never toot your own horn,
right, is
the job opportunities that the people who I coached and hired have been able to get after I jettisoned off somewhere else. That's what brings me a lot of pride in the 25 years I've been doing this bullshit work. I didn't leave myself a whole lot of options. I'm really big knucklehead in my late teens and early 20s.
Weren't we all?
I did a lot of bad things.
Didn't we all?
And so I ended up having to just make a choice.
Yeah.
And so I chose this. And so that's
See, I'm just
as far as this goes. Mike and I wanted to give the Birds fans in this area a place to call home, a place that gave them a little slice of whether they were, from Philadelphia. We wanted to give you a place to come get that feeling again, the passion for it and everything. And if you're not from Philly, you're just a Birds family. We wanted to give all those people a place to come and listen and come be with a bunch of maniacs. Because I promise you, as much as I'm sitting here talking today, when you see me on Sunday, it is a whole different animal. Fanny can tell you that.
I'm looking forward to
Keenan
it.
has been on the road with the Green Legion with us, and he's seen that side of me before.
Wait till you meet Fanny too.
Yeah,
Well, I'm excited.
Fanny's got a good one. A
really-
leader with no followers
That's
is just taking a walk. Adam and Mike are more than just leaders. Thank you, Fanny. Thank you very much for that.
Well, I see their posts and stuff, and
they're
I'm
all
like,
great.
I really want to meet, and because we haven't had
The group
this,
is fantastic.
we just haven't had anybody to watch the games with. It's my wife and I screaming at the TV.
Well, you got a home now.
So I appreciate it, and I appreciate.
and it
what
started
Mike
right
is
back
doing.
here,
Yeah,
right in this area. I used to bring in these two little insignia speakers that were about this big, and that was what we played the fight song on when we scored.
on the road to victory.
And then it got to where this area was full, and those little speakers didn't really work anymore, so I bought a bigger one. Now it's to the point where even the house sound isn't loud enough, so it's just all a cappella. We score, Jakey kicks the extra point, and Mike and I will get everybody started. Fly! And it's just everybody and their grandmother.
We're excited. I mean, we really are. I'm anxious to meet a lot of people, hear their story as well.
And it's a
because
great group.
Always, everyone's got a story.
It's a great group. Some of the benefit that we have is the fact that we're not 21, 22, 25 years old. There's not a whole lot of that knucklehead. We're more seasoned, right? Everybody's got jobs. Yeah, Mike, he's at home watching. You have no idea what you're about to see. Yeah,
You'll meet
this-
Crystal. She
Yeah,
comes
I-
back to Philly frequently.
yeah, she's still got family.
Is she the teacher as well? I
She's
think
a teacher,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm looking forward to that because anyone that's in the business,
Yep.
people who aren't in it don't understand what the requirements and the dedication and the work that you have to put in. I mean, when I leave here, I'm going home to grade papers.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
I would tell you the average age of our group is somewhere 40, 45, somewhere in that area. So it's a seasoned group. Everyone's responsible, got jobs, but God damn it, do we let it loose on game day? I'll tell you that right now, man.
It's been great for us to kind of get into that. Having to go into Philly and seeing a game. I mean, it's one of the best venues ever. I mean, I just
The fans make that place.
oh my
look
god.
nice.
I mean, when we take the train down, I mean,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
being on the train.
Stay in Center City, take the train
Oh
in.
my goodness.
Oh, yeah.
We get down
Next time
there.
you go, let me know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your tailgate.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Couple of strings I can pull.
The last one I went to, it was so damn cold though. Like it wasn't
It's
as good
Philadelphia.
as it's been. But I'll tell you what, I'm so glad I got to go to that game
Absolutely.
and beating the Rams and just it just was so fun.
So, and then you get the dedication from some of the folks out here. Now, look, when we had that snow, we had a Sunday where it snowed hard. It was the last game of the year. We played the Giants, right?
Yeah.
The game meant nothing. Saquon wasn't going to play.
Right.
The game meant nothing.
Did you think you should have?
It's no.
No.
I thought if he was under 50 yards to go that they should think about it. But when it was still 101 yards
Yeah.
and the Giants would sell out, because the other problem with it is if you put Saquon out there, you have to put the entire starting offense out
Absolutely,
there,
to
which means
protect it.
everyone is at risk
Right.
for an individual award. And Saquon Barkley himself will be the first one to tell you, I don't care.
Well, wasn't
That guy is team guy all the way
Absolutely.
through. He was like that at Penn State. A lot of people don't know that.
No.
I'm a Penn State fan. He is easily my favorite Nittany Lion ever. I bought a jersey, just got it a few weeks ago. I almost wore it tonight, but it's split. So one half of it is Kelly Green,
Yeah.
Eagles. The other half is Penn State, and it's 26 Barkley.
He's a very good golfer, by the way.
That doesn't surprise me. at
And
all.
Grant is a very good golfer because I asked him, where do you rank on the team? And guess who do you think is the best golfer on the team?
Jake Elliott.
Yeah.
Who do you think
Good kicker.
second? Who do you think second is?
Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
It's not
Man, the punter.
great man.
Yeah.
And then I think Grant. And then Saquon's
And
up there too. But
Saquon's up
Grant
there,
and
too.
Saquon golf a lot.
Nice.
I mean, Grant's hit a whole one up there on rented clubs. But Grant grew up on a golf
He
course.
hit
Sure.
a hole in one?
Yeah, Grant.
With rented clubs.
with rented
So
clubs.
imagine a man of his proportions going to rent clubs,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
They
they
usually
just
don't
went out
have
after
clubs
practice
that are that big.
sometime and went to go play. And
Like
sure enough,
Saquon is at least he's 6 feet tall, like 5'11", 6 foot. So you go rent clubs, it's a standard size. He's good. Grant, on the other hand,
Yeah.
trying to rent
My brother's a pretty good golfer, and Grant just pounds him. He does. Grant pounds my brother, and my brother's pretty good.
Yeah.
So Grant, he's probably like 5 handicap, maybe. I don't know. I'll have to ask him. Like, he's really good. I mean, he is really good.
Man.
And he loves golf, and it's great because my brother loves golf, and we all golf.
So you share it as a family.
But I'm, I have a lot of room for error in my backswing.
That's a big backswing.
I have a little bit. I have like a slap shot, Bobby Clark from, or Eric Lindros, just right here, and then wham.
Nice.
So yeah. But you drive for show putt for dough, and I'm gonna try and play with you sometime because
yeah,
I'm the guy that blares the music, and I'm having a good time. I'm not. You gotta be quiet and all that.
I don't want anybody.
What is this, Amy?
Monday.
You didn't take Monday off? Oh dear, I can't help you. That's a shame. Even Roger took Monday off. He's gonna work Saturday to make up for it, but even he took Monday off. Keenan Hartman, Super Bowl Monday has been my personal holiday since 1989. I never worked a day after the Super Bowl. I think the last one I worked, the last Monday after the Super Bowl I worked was when the Patriots played the Rams. That was the most god-awful Super Bowl I've ever watched. I fell asleep during the game.
Yep.
It was the most boring Super Bowl ever, and I just woke up the next morning. I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go.
I'm bothered by I see these posts that say all the people that care about this Super Bowl, and I'm like, are you kidding me? This is going to be. I mean, it's. I can't believe that. I don't believe that. I think people have a general interest because one, there are a lot of people, unfortunately, are kind of tired of the Chiefs, as we talked
Chiefs
about.
Fatigue. Yep.
And I think they want to see them lose, so they're going to tune in even if they're not a fan. And how can you not want to watch Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts and the two best receivers in the league and a hell of a tight end who is right up there with Travis Kelce?
I agree, and I think Goddard has been in that class for a while now.
Absolutely.
Kelce, Goddard, George Kittle would be another one. Mark Andrews, of course.
Yeah.
Hell, Andrews might be the better.
Likely's good too.
Isaiah Likely's
McBride's
good.
good.
McBride is good.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones.
There are.
Let me tell you one Dallas story. So you remember the stiff arm?
Yeah.
That kid grew up on my street.
The kid he's stiff arm?
Valentine, yeah.
Did you hear what he said? Did you hear what Dallas said?
Yeah, I did.
He slowed down and pushed him together.
Yeah, so like right before that happened, my neighbor texted me, and it's going to sound crazy, but I live on Cinderella Drive. And he's like, it's the battle of Cinderella Drive. Next thing I know, Dallas is giving him the business. Bam. I'm like, ooh, that's not good. And that kid went to Moeller.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of interesting that came about, but it was kind of cool. Like, damn, Dallas is back for real because he's still coming off that injury.
Coming off the injury, you weren't quite sure.
Yeah. So
and that kind of quelled everyone's worries with that.
Oh my God, that was.
Here, let me slow down and hit you again. And we're over here screaming, like just losing it. Keenan. Waiting a sick day as they. What you got, Roger?
Yeah.
Batter up, buddy.
Pipe in, man.
Yeah.
Pipe in. Come on.
Oh, did you guys see Jameis Winston on media day?
My son watched it.
Okay, so he went
didn't
to all
watch
the Eagles. He went to a lot of.
Roger's talking about Jameis Winston on media day.
So he went to a lot of the Eagles press conferences, and he's like,
Can you guys, somebody comment if you can hear him. If you can hear him, then I won't translate for you. But go ahead, keep going.
All right, well, he goes up to these different Eagles, and he's like, "Are you guys gonna eat that dub on Super Bowl Sunday? Of course, or whatever. He's like, how about right now?" And he threw him a W-shaped cookie. None of them dropped, by the way. They all caught it. It's green and white W cookie.
Wow.
But then he would ask him some other things. He asked AJ, "Where should I go play next year?" Because
he's a free agent.
Yeah,
Yep.
and he's like,
well, any place that wants him to throw 30
AJ
touchdown
answered
passes
the
and 30 interceptions.
Brett. No, AJ answered the question. AJ said the Giants.
Oh, brutal, dude. AJ, man. Why AJ choosing violence all the time, dude?
Yeah,
Like,
that's crazy.
Love the
But
book.
so that was
Love the book.
Record sales once that thing got on the
It's a
screen.
great video. You could probably find it somewhere. Just first.
My son told me I should watch it. He thought Jameis was very entertaining.
Oh, he is very entertaining.
He is a ham. He's always been a ham, except when he's stealing crab legs.
That's the only funny thing I got. I got a bunch of stuff about the team.
What do you got? Do it.
Jalen Carter's sick. Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
I think
I think it's a hangover.
He's got a cold or yeah.
I think it's a hangover.
Or something.
They're in New Orleans.
He'll be fine.
His mom is down there.
I was like,
Jalen Carter is going to show up at the Green Legion boat on Friday for a half an hour.
all right.
Jalen Carter,
We
Brandon
need
Graham.
Jordan Davis to step up.
Yes, I would 100%
You know what I'm
agree
saying?
with that.
Like he has it.
He did against the Rams.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. But man, we need more of that.
We need more
He's a
consistency.
big dude.
100% agree. And him and Carter
Bunch of
next to each
behind the
other.
line stop kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I mean, this is the time.
Jurgens and Dickerson said they're good to go.
They-
They're playing.
Yeah.
Don't worry about nothing.
I wasn't worried about it. Once we had the 2-week break, I was for sure they'd be out there.
So BG, he's gonna play. I mean, like it still says questionable. He's gonna play.
I would guess some pretty limited snap counts though, BG.
Gainwell is still a little bit of a question.
That worries me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I like Kenny. Don't get me wrong. I like Shipley.
Yeah.
Kenny's way more
He
dynamic,
hasn't been.
That will test
He
it.
isn't.
and he got
He's not
cracked
practicing.
in that NFC Championship.
He's not practicing. You know, he
He's
still
not
has-
practicing at all.
Yeah.
Well,
Did he
I
practice
think that's-
today?
That's protocol.
I haven't
think
seen
that's
anything
protocol.
yet today.
Concussion
Yeah,
protocol,
it's
so he
concussion
still hasn't
protocol.
cleared it.
Yeah, he's got to clear it. And that's been. You know,
It's a week and a half now.
Right.
so it
He'll
would
be-
have to come Friday for him to play. I think
He'll play. I think he'll
Let's-
play.
I hope.
that's the
I-
one
yeah,
that I
I-
worry about. I'm pretty sure Kobe's going to play because he's been limited, but he's been limited for like a week and a half.
Are we talking about Britton
Kobe.
Covey? Yeah. So funny story about him. He did the Green Legion player show a couple of years ago. But prior to that, when we put him on the practice squad and they released his picture, me, Quimby, and everyone else were picking on him. I was actually calling him Bitch Pants, was my nickname for it. I'm like, what is this kid? Is he 5'6", 110 pounds? What? Shows up, so Quimby calls me, and we're roasting him every week. So I'm on my way home from work. Quimby calls me. He says, "Hey, player show on Tuesday night." I'm like, "Yeah, I always tune in, dude. And I always share it." He says, "Yeah, I'm gonna need you to do me a favor." I says, "What's up?" He goes, "Guess who the guest is gonna be?" I'm like, "I don't know, man." Here's Britton Covey. I'm like, "Oh, you have to be fucking kidding. You've got to be kidding me." He goes, "Yeah, we're gonna have to back off." So Covey goes on. Great dude. Shows up at link. They don't know who the hell he is. So he paid for his parking spot. It's like $60 to park. He pays for the spot and the president then walks up to the players' entrance. Yeah. I think the next game, because it's week to week, he was coming off the practice squad. So he didn't have like the pass or anything yet. So he shows up at the players' like, get the hell out of here. He doesn't look like it.
Yeah.
When you look at him, he's little. He doesn't look like it.
A little bit.
Same with Cooper.
Cooper's 6 foot.
I know, man. Do you ever see his
And
highlight
his-
reel
oh
from basketball?
God.
Man,
Yeah.
He's 6 foot
He's
white
got
dude
the
dunking like
hops.
that.
I mean,
Yeah,
the
he's off the
hops.
gym. He gets
Oh
up
my
real quick.
goodness.
Yeah, that shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Exciting whites.
His family's his family's cool about it.
We
Yeah.
call him DeJohn.
Yeah, I heard that. Did you know Cam Jurgens played tight end originally?
Yes.
Did you know his mom was 11-time state champion? And
That I did not know.
Discus.
Wow. Cam
Yeah.
Jurgens.
Oh,
Cam
yeah.
was a state champion,
Family's
I'm
got
pretty sure.
He's-
But his mom was
he
like
would
a
probably
god.
tell you his mom was better athlete.
Super athlete. Yeah.
By the way, beef jerky. Got good gear.
I still have-
Good product. Good gear. Order some.
I remember when he got drafted, they said he makes his own jerky, and I was like, I should get some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called beef jerky. I have a T-shirt as well. My wife surprised me at Christmas.
This is Cam Jurgens thing?
Yeah, Cam. Yeah, absolutely. He's got
I'll
a
have to
friend
get
from
on that.
college. I think is like his marketing manager, and I know they were. I think his mom told me they were going to be shooting some T-shirts at games or
Excellent.
something. Yeah. So, but if you go online, it's a little small business, family-run
Beef
business.
jerky.
Beef jerky. What a great name, isn't it?
I wonder how
And that
quick
was-
they can ship.
Didn't they just, isn't that what everybody called him? Before he got to the Eagles?
I didn't know about it till when we went to the Philly game last year. One of my brother's friends from California was sporting. I'm like, "What's that?" He's like, "That's Cam's business." I'm like, "Honey, I want one of those."
I need that and give me
Yeah.
some jerky while we're at it.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. And my brother-in-law got one as well. My wife, bought her brother one. So we have our beef jerky shirts.
Hell yeah.
And so yeah,
I wonder how quick they can ship the jerky.
I don't know.
I
Good
might
to know for next
find
year.
out tonight.
Yeah, they're good people.
Yeah,
Really
I've
nice
never
people.
had
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, really cool people.
The big thing on Jurgens was that handpicked and groomed by Jason Kelsey.
Right.
And look what's happened.
Look at what happened.
Pro Bowl.
Right.
We haven't missed a beat, which I was for sure.
But he did a good job as a guard.
He
He
did.
did a great job.
He did.
He
Playing
really
right
did.
next to Jason,
Yeah.
right? And learning
Absolutely.
all the way through.
Hey,
And
look,
he slides in and Landon Dickerson. I mean, my God, this offensive, of course, Stout University.
Exactly.
Look at Fred. Fred Johnson is the perfect example of Stout University. Fred Johnson, coached by anyone else, would be either a third string or whatever. Comes over here, Mailata gets hurt, Fred steps in. Lane gets hurt, Fred steps in. Now, don't get me wrong, he's not Lane or Jordan. Freaking held down the fort, man. That guy was good.
Next man up.
And he's a free agent at the end of this year, and I want to keep Fred Johnson.
I mean, he's done his job. And, you got to know your role.
No,
all the backups are pretty solid.
I know. Mekhi Becton has to return. There's another Stoutland University
I don't
story.
think Steen should go.
No, I like Tyler Steen, too.
He's a good. He's a real good.
Yeah.
I think the balance of it's so hard. Think about how many accounts you got to have on a freaking NFL team.
Oh, my God.
To balance that all out, and it's it's just really tough.
Howie and his team, man. They're just
They'll make the
wizards
right
at it.
moves, and what a great owner.
Well, they just keep kicking the kid, right? So this is what's going on. They did. Saquon Barkley signed for $13 million a year. I think his cap hit is 16 or something, or whatever. That
Worth
is.
the money.
Absolutely.
Worth the
But-
money.
That cap hit will never take place because they'll just kick that can again. Jalen Hurts, same thing. They'll kick that can again. They just keep moving it out and moving it out and moving it out until eventually they're gone and it's somebody else's freaking problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's pretty much the way that goes. What else did you have over there?
I mean, so if you watch Twitter or whatever,
Yeah.
the John as we call him.
Yep.
He keeps receipts. That's what they kids say.
I saw something about this. I didn't look into
every
it.
time somebody picks against us, he takes a picture of it and puts it on Twitter. Like the guys, all the experts.
Right.
Like when they there was one, he'll pick one where they all but one picked against us.
Yeah.
And he had one that they all picked against. I said
Dude, a lot of
the
people.
commodes.
The commodes. Yeah, that's what we call it.
So did you guys think
A lot of people picked them, and it was a little annoying. To be perfectly, I was like,
I
as
call
a
them
fan,
the
I was insulted.
I call them commies.
Commies is another one. It's a
But
common one.
did you think that we would run it up like that? Did you think it would
No.
be that much?
I
Because I was a little scared. You have to run. You have to admit.
Jaden Daniels is
He's
amazing.
incredible.
I thought we would win. I thought we'd win by double digits. I didn't think we'd hang 55 on them. They
So-
took that team to the woodshed. I think they came out and they
They
were bad about it.
broke
Dude.
their soul or whatever he said in the second half.
Yeah,
They just couldn't.
We scored 7 rushing touchdowns that
That's
half.
insane.
The second half.
3 by
they couldn't do
Saquon,
anything.
3 by Jalen, and 1 at the end from Shipley.
Will Shipley.
Who was the first person running down the field to congratulate?
Saquon Barkley.
Saquon Barkley.
I mean,
If
that
I
tells
was
you what
there, I'd
kind.
have been in the field and get arrested.
Grant always
You
says he's a
should've-
great
If
teammate.
you,
He's a great teammate.
I love Will.
I do too. I was so stoked when he
Yeah.
came. I watched him at Clemson.
Yeah.
I
was
wanted
like,
to
oh
see
my
more
God.
of him earlier in the year. I wanted to see more of him.
I was the loudest person in the stadium at the Bengals game when he scored that touchdown, but I got called
They got
back.
called back.
I went absolutely bonkers.
Do you know who Clemson's OC is? Do you know who Clemson's OC is? I mentioned him earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, is it the
It's Garrett Riley.
Garrett Riley?
Yeah.
Riley. Yeah.
So, I mean, I was so happy. Like, that guy's good. I watched him in
Yeah.
college, and
Yeah.
he'll get his opportunity as well.
And he will. I'm a little concerned they're going to let Gainwell walk out the door and expect Shipley to completely fill those shoes right away. Which is, don't forget, that's what they did with Gainwell. They slid him right in. And it's like, okay, now you're that guy. Kenny's actually performed well.
Yeah.
Shipley's a different type of back. He's not as shifty, quick, like a little bit more thunder than lightning.
I think.
I like
Yeah.
Swift. I
Yes.
thought Swift was good.
So do I. And had
Yeah.
we retained Swift
Yeah.
in the offseason, I would have been absolutely
I
fine
know,
with it.
man. He was good.
But when we got Saquon, I cried.
Oh,
I was beside myself. I'm like, so I never do this.
Yeah.
I never go buy the jersey right away. But when your favorite college player ever ends up on your favorite NFL team, it's rare. I was on with Marcus. I want the jersey. He goes, dude, they haven't released the number yet. I'm like, it's gonna be 26. I can't do anything until they release it. I'm like, I want the fucking jersey.
So interesting. Will's a rookie.
Yeah,
He
Ship was a
30
rookie.
He was 39. At some point, they changed it to 28. I don't know when that happened, but it was 39.
Who knows?
Grant was 47, and what it was is until you make the 53-man roster and you knew sometimes
just
you got
gotta
a
give
direct, depending on like Grant was.
So whenever that, it must have been in the preseason, maybe he was 39. and then he switched over when he made the team.
That's something.
I think it's
It
like
makes sense though.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Major League Baseball does when you're brought up the first time. You're like number 74 or
65
whatever.
something. Yeah.
And then if you're, you become a stalwart there, then okay, what number are you looking for here? Yeah, I can see it.
But yeah, we were talking about Shipley and doing well there. I think that.
I'd love to keep them both.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's a nice running back room.
I think if you combine Shipley and Gainwell, you get Barkley. If you could make that one person,
I think if
I'm
you
serious.
combine
That's a good
Superman,
analogy.
I think
That's
if
a
you
good
combine
analogy.
Superman and Thanos, you get Barkley. I mean,
I
that
mean,
kid is just special, dude.
He is special.
Gainwell is very fast and has some moves.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have
He's got no
power
thunder.
at all.
No.
Just think if we
Shipley
didn't
can
have,
run through.
Saquon? Yeah, I don't know, man.
I don't know. I mean, maybe they would have kept Swift. I don't know.
I think the reason why they let Swift, and of course, we hear things. Shit's already been decided.
Yeah.
Before we even know anything about it.
But he was a Philly guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
it was good. It was good.
Saquon's a PA boy too,
He is.
So-
I know.
and a real PA guy. PA and then Penn State.
Yeah.
So he's coming home too. Yeah, that was a special day when they signed him, man. When they let Swift walk away, I'm like, it's Henry or Saquon. They're
Yeah.
going to get one of them. The cap expanded. There was a running back plethora on the market. I'm like, one of these two dudes is coming to Philly. I did not want Derrick Henry.
I didn't either.
And because I don't think he fits a straight up RPO offense. I think Derrick Henry is much better when he is already coming downhill.
Yep.
Okay. Saquon can take the snap, stick it in the chest. He's at top speed in a second. Derrick Henry can't do that. Derrick Henry needs that extra couple of strides, but people are once he gets going, he gets to that second level.
But I also think it's that locker room presence and that true good teammate.
Yeah, Saquon's
And I
always
don't
been
know
that
if
kid.
I don't know if Henry has that.
He
I don't
might
know, and I'm not speaking like I do. I just think Saquon is committed and a true team player, and I think he's hungry.
Well, you saw him in that first game against the Giants,
Yeah.
right? He could have broken his own personal best against his former team.
Right.
Sirianni comes, sits next to him. Hey, I want you to get it, but it's up to you. Nah.
But
The
the
other
young
guy
dogs
thinks-
eat.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the part. And again, I was like brought to tears because I'm watching everybody around me. And a lot of people did. Like I know you do, but a lot of people didn't because they're first of all either not Penn State fans or just not college football fans. And then he goes to the Giants, so you hated him.
Yeah.
You didn't know that kid has always been like that.
Yeah.
He was like that at Penn State even when he was a freshman. And I would bet you he was like that at freaking Pop Warner. He's just some people are just a different mold.
He's a
Saquon's one of those
different-
guys.
He's a different breed. Oh, you're so
Uber
spot on.
talented.
Yeah.
And doesn't give a shit about the personal accolades. It's all about the team.
Well, how about that he let some of his former teammates up in the suite?
Oh, Daniel Jones is like his best friend.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that says what.
Yeah,
kind
he'll
of
be
person
there
he
in
is.
Saquon's box on Super Bowl.
And it wasn't
Daniel Jones.
just him. There were other
Yes.
teammates that he had there. I mean, and he has never badmouthed the Giants.
Not
Has
one
never
time.
said anything. He's always been respectful. Truly appreciates his opportunity that they had there,
Yeah.
and that just speaks volumes about the type of person he
He's
is.
just an amazing kid, and he always has been. And it's just such a joy to watch him finally be in a place where he's treated well. They put a team around him.
Yeah.
He's got a great offensive line, and look what he can do when he doesn't have to be the entire offense. Where he comes up to the line of scrimmage and there's 8 guys sitting there because nobody's afraid of your quarterback.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody's afraid of your wide receivers. And look at what he does. If he plays that last game, he breaks Dickerson's record. There's no question in my mind.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
When he hits
Or
30,
if he would have played in that Giants game or some other game, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like he had his opportunity, not thinking about.
there's
the
a
record.
bigger record though. When he gets to 30 yards, he's 29 yards behind it right now. When he hits 30 yards,
Breaks Terrell's.
he will break Terrell Davis's single season, including postseason. And it's legit because Saquon sat out that last week. So it's not like he needed the extra.
Yeah, I think people underestimate that in him, and I think you're exactly right. He's still one of 9 people that have got 2,000 yards.
Yep. He's
And
the 8th highest
that's the-
rushing total.
I don't know how he doesn't get the MVP. I know
Because
we're
the
quarterback.
quarterback.
I'm sorry, but there's only been 8 other people to do it.
And when you look at Lamar's stats, it's a regular season award. If you included the postseason, Saquon would probably win it landslide.
Yeah, but I just say it comes along. When was the last time someone did it? Like you have to reward for that.
I agree.
You can't just go, well,
Had
it's a
he
quarterback league.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? Like that's just not right.
But he didn't get
Who
it.
decided it was a freaking quarterback?
Lamar Jackson had 4,000 yards passing, 900 yards rushing, some 47 or 48 total touchdowns, only 4 interceptions.
Yeah, it's
Now,
ridiculous.
I mean, his season was
It is
nuts,
ridiculous.
but he also had Derrick Henry standing right next to him.
Well, true.
Right. So I don't know who
I mean,
benefited more from that, because I think you can make an argument that Derrick Henry also benefited from everyone having to worry about Lamar's crazy ass running
I
around.
mean, it's a regular season.
It is. It's a regular season
Because
award.
Lamar craps the bed every play.
It's called Lamar season.
I mean,
You just wait for it to show up.
postseason, he can't win.
They can't do
Well,
it.
you can't put it on him. You know, what I mean, it's the rest of the team that crapped it.
That game against Kansas City last year, he
Well,
was
let me
brutal.
tell you, I was with Grant when Mark Andrews had the little bobble.
Oh man,
Grant was, I mean, you just feel, because we know Mark, and
Yeah, sure.
he's a great person. We were crushed. We felt terrible for him, you know. We just did. And you hate to see that, because tell you what, you know what we talked about when I was at his wedding? He talked about how they should have beat the freaking Bengals, and Henderson or Hubbard got that freaking fumble.
Fumble.
And that's what he wants to talk about. Like, we should have been there.
Well,
not
they're
the
pissed.
Bengals. And yeah, he's an easygoing guy, and your heart hurts for a guy that's a true competitor. And it's not like you try to miss it. It wasn't a great pass.
No.
Right.
You know, it is what it is. And, you know, he had a great statement. You know, I don't know if you saw his press release after he waited a few days after he collected himself. And what a great guy, man. You know, what a great guy.
It's all. And those are the stories I always enjoy, because there are a lot of stories about guys being jerk-offs, right? My favorite stories are the ones where you get, you know,
I agree with you.
what's that? Keenan,
Yeah, Lamar.
but Saquon is in the Super Bowl and none of the others aren't. Okay, and we get that. But again, it's a regular season award. It's just because the awards are going to be given out tomorrow night doesn't mean that voting just happened this week. That voting happened a month ago. They've known who the winners are. Benny, Saquon is as much of a fan of his teammates as they are him.
Yes.
100% agree.
First guy out there, great chip.
Oh,
I mean,
every time.
He threw his helmet on to go get Shipley
Yeah.
in the end zone.
And you
Come
see the
off
wherewithal to
sideline.
know to put his helmet back on and not be C.J. Gardner-Johnson about it, run around like a knucklehead. You
Like,
know,
he sees him
the
score,
leadership ability, the leadership of Saquon Barkley is just – he's going to have that C on his jersey next year. There's not even a question.
Oh, no.
He'll be one of the team captains.
so when Grant gets his first touchdown, Saquon comes over. He didn't know it was Grant's first touchdown. He's like, "That's your first NFL career touchdown?" He's like, "Yeah." Oh man, I figured you had 4, 5, 6, or 7. He's like, "No man, I'm just a real, you know what I'm saying?" Like, but that's him. He comes over and talks to everybody, you know, and they're pretty close. So it's kind of cool.
I love the mic'd up stuff.
Oh
Yeah.
man, you got to watch that
That
thing I
shows
posted
you
today.
who
It's
these people
hilarious.
are.
Well, you look at the reaction when Saquon did that backwards jump, which he
Oh,
better
yeah.
never fucking do again.
Well, it's against the Jaguars, by the way.
I know. And he got cracked as soon as he landed.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
Scared the daylights
I
out of him.
know.
Yeah.
But have you seen the camera angle from behind the Eagles bench where the whole Eagles
They
bench
all,
is in
like,
front
just-
and the play happens out here?
They'll grab their
As soon as he does it, Jordan Davis turns around and he's just going, Reed Blankenship is the best. They're all watching it. And then he does it, and Reed goes like this.
He's a freak. It's incredible. Just
The
incredible.
shit that, I mean, what goes to
I think his brain just works in a
Different.
different
It's
pace.
just
Like
different.
the way he can shift and move and juke and jive, it's like
a guy that big shouldn't be able to
Oh,
to
right,
go
but he
lateral
does.
like that.
He does.
He's 6 foot, 225, 230 pounds. People don't realize how big he is because of how fast he is. A guy that size should not be able to jump cut like that. It's ridiculous what he pulls off.
I didn't realize we went that long, dude.
It's 2 hours, bro. I told you, it goes fast.
I'm
So
sorry.
yeah, we
I
probably
thought we were going to be on for an hour,
Hey,
but I love it. I
This is-
truly am.
this is what
appreciative.
happens. It
I
goes
really am.
fast, man. Yeah.
you love
And-
talking birds.
But yeah,
Yeah.
let's do the final thoughts and wrap this thing up. He's got some great thing to give
All
out.
right. It's all right. I got excuses to, I can work around it.
Roger, what do you got? Final thoughts.
Mine is blank now.
Your mind is blank.
Go Birds!
Go Birds! There we go. All
We'll come
right.
back around it. One, I want to thank you. I want to thank Mike. Thank you as well. I mean, you helped me last week, so I'm ecstatic. I just feel like it's their turn, as I mentioned, and I think they're pissed. I think they got the chip on their shoulder, and let me tell you, when you've won and you get complacent, and I think the Chiefs want that record, but I also just think they could easily be shut down and then they fold.
Yeah.
And I just feel it's going to be our turn and the tide is going to shift and we're going to just punch them right in the mouth. And the key is when you get them down, you got to strike.
Step on him.
You know?
Don't let your foot off the gas.
Exactly.
Too often. Don't be James Franklin about it. Freaking Penn State head coach.
Dick just can't play soft after we get up.
No.
Well, you're right.
It's it.
Conservative
Don't-
prevent.
Don't go and don't do it too early, right?
Right.
Like situationally fine.
Do it.
He did it too early against the Rams.
Yes, he
Yes.
did.
Wait, there was still almost 5 minutes to go in that game, and he backed off.
I knew people that left. the
That's still
stadium
Matt
because they thought it
Stafford.
was over.
Like that's still Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
This is a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
No, you
Damn
need to
good
make
quarterback.
a statement.
There needs to be no
Make a
soft
statement.
defense the whole way
Make
through.
a statement.
Yeah, because you know what? You need to shut all those haters up.
Yeah.
It drives me crazy. But
So final thought for me: if you look at a map, let's just say America. You have Kansas City, you have New York, DC, and Dallas. All of those cities wearing Chiefs jerseys. The rest of the globe is go Birds.
go Birds.
Either that or they're waiting for baseball season.
I guess Mr. Trump. Did you guys know that was? Yeah, I see a post and they said that. And so think of the security and the added stress and like, please don't mess with the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You're a sports fan,
variable.
and, you know, I don't talk politics, but
No.
I want them to have their moments and not have any disruptions because of all the stuff that goes.
Well, yeah,
that's
because usually the
required.
winner goes to the White House, right? So, like, what the hell do you need to be?
Well, he's the first sitting president that is going to do it, which is shocking to me. I mean, I'm sure there's other presidents that have, you know, been out of office, but
Yeah,
I didn't know that. I figured there was,
didn't-
but then I thought
yeah.
about it. I'm like, not the right time.
that's surprising.
So I hope there's nothing outside that, you know, changes the focus of what they need.
No, and you think about it, they've not been there. The
No.
first sitting president, yeah.
President that was a big football fan.
A lot of baseball
No.
fans.
A lot of baseball fans.
A lot of
Yeah,
baseball
a lot
fans.
Well, because you get the whole America's pastime thing. and all
But
that.
there's 7 games.
Bush owned the Rangers.
7 games.
Right. The
But
series.
this is a one-time only,
only.
winner take all.
Well, so I guess when you look at it, we're in a dome, right? So that takes some of the, unfortunately to say, assassination stuff away because you don't have the open air, right? It's a little bit easier to defend.
But getting him to at a certain time, you know, you're for the fans that are going,
Yeah.
what's the route going to be? I mean, there's a lot of added stress now.
He's got
because
to
of
be
that.
in some box somewhere.
Well, I'm sure he is.
He can't be down on the
But I say you come later.
or
You know, because you
wicked
got all the
or
hype
wicked early.
before, or wicked
Or
early.
sinfully
That's
early.
not going to do that.
No, he's not.
So I say, you know, wait till the game starts because they got all the ceremonial stuff. Then you come in. No one even knows you're there. Doesn't
Right.
take away from because they'll be shining the camera on Taylor Swift.
Hey, Tay.
And I don't want to go from Taylor to Donald. You know,
Talk about two polar opposites.
hey, he might even be in the box with her. You just never know.
Oh God. Well, if Patrick Mahomes' wife, if Brittany Mahomes had her choice, that's exactly where Trump would be. She loves it.
Oh, man.
Unfortunately, Jason Kelsey will probably be in there with Taylor.
Yeah, he will.
Yeah, but he's rooting for the Eagles.
Yeah, I know, but when I see her face,
I don't think he will be because now he's doing the ESPN stuff.
Well, but you're gonna see her.
Yeah, you're gonna see it, but I don't think Jason's gonna be a part of it.
I don't know
think
if he can. I don't know what the contractual shit is.
The game's on Fox.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
but
don't know.
think he's gonna do his own thing. Maybe I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I'm speculating.
Fanny says she's about to lose her dinner. Yeah, no religion, no politics. You guys all saw that rule when you joined the group. This is a joking thing.
I did
It's
see it
totally
was
different.
posted, and maybe
But
it was
that's
fake.
that's-
Maybe it was fake.
But that's not talking politics. That's
No.
legit.
No, I
That's
don't
like-
talk politics.
There's a time and place for it.
Right. Yeah. Even then, I don't know if there's a time and place
Yeah.
in
Might not.
today's
People are
environment. You know what I'm
so
saying?
polar.
Yeah,
It's
I
such
just.
a polarizing.
That's
thing.
why I
It's so
find joy in this, and that we're not talking about that,
And
we're
that's why
just talking what we love.
bad.
Sports.
that group rule, no religion, no politics, and I put in that description that includes when we get together on game days.
On game day, you're gonna find this place. It has no one has no hate for nothing.
Nothing.
Nobody. Nothing.
We just hate the other team.
Yeah,
That's
that's
it.
correct.
Predict pain. I like that one.
This motorcade better not interrupt the Green Legion March to the Dome. Quinn will fucking lose.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Don't mess with it. You know what I mean? Like, did we really need that?
No, but he needed it because
Remember that, Fanny?
Well, wouldn't he have come to the commies game?
now the Super Bowl's the big event.
That's true. All right, well,
All right.
it is what it is.
I like the comment.
Look, the
Roger.
legend right there, Dr. J.
Dr. J.
The legend.
Roger, do you have any final thoughts? Were you able to collect anything over there, or are you still? Have we rendered you speechless?
You've rendered me speechless enough.
You've really done a good job when you've rendered me speechless. I got a big mouth.
So do I. I can go forever too, brother.
Love it.
Love it.
Scott, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Thank
This
you.
has been,
I really
a
appreciate
good
it.
time.
For those that listen, I appreciate you letting me talk about my nephew, my family.
Yeah.
It's been
Well,
a
and the
great
whole
experience.
family. No, not,
Yeah,
not
the
just
whole
Brent,
family.
but
We're
yourself.
close.
Yeah, your brothers, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm blessed, man. I got
Good
great
times.
brothers and great nieces and nephews on both sides of my family.
Yeah.
And I didn't even tell you this, but when they played here in Cincinnati, my brother and brother-in-law in California, still a Bengal ticket holder. My wife's family came in from DC, from California. Their kids came in.
Oh, nice.
So I spent time with them. We did the Rib King.
Yeah.
You know, and so it was great for both families to be together. And as I said, my older brother is friends with all of them too. So it's a family affair in our family, and we have a good time.
Nothing bigger than blood. But I've also got blood that ain't family and family that ain't blood. So a lot of y'all gather right over here on Sundays.
Go Birds, Sunday.
Yeah.
Excited.
So we're going to sign off. Come back again next week. Hopefully we are talking victory
Yes.
and not the other side. But until then, folks, this has been the UnHappy Gilmore Show, powered by Green Legion Radio, part of the Green Legion Radio family, and proudly brought to you by the beautiful women at Cheerleaders. 2740 South Front Street in Philadelphia. Call 215-467-1980 for all of your group and party packages. Folks, come on back again next week. Let's hope we're celebrating. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Remember that judge ain't back in until Monday. And as always, folks, go Birds!
He stepped up.
All right, guys, take care. We love you. We'll see you next week. Stream.